Expeditious manner because we have a large agenda on our public session. I'd like to read the required opening statement. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by sending notices on December the 21st of last year to the Bergen Record and the Ridgewood News, by positioning notice of this meeting on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Borough Hall, and by filing a notice of the meeting with the municipal clerk. I'd like to remind everyone that there are 3 exits in the council chambers, 1 to the rear and 2 to the front. We are on the record, so everything that is said and everything that is said and seen is being recorded by audio and videotape. If you wish to speak during the public portion of the meeting, please stand up, give us your name and address, and you will be heard. You can make a comment, ask a question, or make a statement. If you would like to be seen by the video camera, then you can approach the front table over here, the microphone, and we will record your image also. All right, can I have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Here.
Councilman Ecofreda?
Here.
Councilman Coppola?
Here.
Councilman Mignon?
Here.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Here.
Councilman Papaleo?
Here.
And Mayor Mascarosolo.
Present. All right, we have 4 topics on the Borough Administrator's agenda. Alan, number 1, amendment to the shade tree ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may, back in December of 2012, I sent the Mayor and Council a memorandum regarding the shade tree ordinance, which was adopted last year. Several sections were omitted in the revised draft that actually became an ordinance, which would allow the fees, bonds, cash bonds, to go into the Shade Tree Trust Fund. I think that was the intent of the Shade Tree Commission and the Council, to take those monies, put that into the fund to allow for tree replacement. That language is omitted, so I'm asking that we introduce an ordinance to amend the ordinance to allow those deposits to go into the trust of the fund. If you decide not to do that, then the funds would go into the general fund.
All right.
And that's all I feel that is needed for this amendment now. I don't know if the Shade Tree Commission was going to be here to add to any other amendments, but I don't see them in the audience, and this would be the only amendment that I would be asking for.
All right, well, the shade tree ordinance, I guess, is fresh enough on everybody's mind since we didn't adopt it until the fall of last year. My recollection is that the intent was to include monies from bonds and from fines and from the designation of trees to be dedicated for the Shade Tree Commission. I'll open the floor to any other recollections or comments or statements that any other council members want to make, and then we'll see if we reach a consensus whether or not to propose amendments to the ordinance. Ed?
Well, as I recall, the bond is actually supposed to be an escrow until such time that they're going to be released. So, but it would still go into this fund, you're saying, Alan, and then if they decide not to release it, then they'll...
It would be identified as an escrow item and go back to the
Okay, that's
individual.
no problem.
That was my remembrance, too.
Anthony? Vito? Kathleen?
No, that's what I was told as well.
Anybody have a motion?
I would make a motion to amend that ordinance to reflect the deposits into their trust fund.
I think there are even earlier versions of the ordinance that had that language in it.
It does have it.
Exactly. So, Alan, if you could look through your files and see if you could come up with that, and you could send it over to our borough attorney for review, and we can get it on the agenda for first reading.
I second Kathleen's motion.
All right, can I have a roll call?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Ecofreda?
Yes.
Councilman Coppola?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
And Mayor Mascarosolo.
I don't vote. All right, number 2 is repair of the damaged curbs and sidewalks.
Thank you, Mayor. If I may, we received a revised report from John Lynch. I have a copy of it just for you to take a look at, pass around to council if you're interested. But this report indicates that with regard to the sidewalks, where we had previously reported there were 38 that needed to be reset, we now have 34. There was an early estimate in November that we might need 40 the homeowners might need 40 slabs replaced because they were damaged. That count is now 26. I've spoken with the New Milford administrator, who has been in touch with the contractors, that they've received quotations. They will charge New Milford at this point $100 to reset a slab, $150 for a new slab. The contractor, if River Edge does decide to go in with New Milford, would offer a 5% reduction on those prices, so that the reset would be $95 and the $150 new slab would be $142.50. Based on these numbers, the total cost for resets and new slabs would be about $7,000, $6,935. I would need direction from the council as to whether this is something you're interested in undertaking, and then we would proceed to look to engage a contractor with New Milford.
All right, before I open it to the council, I'll say that because this was a natural disaster, and I know some of us have a feeling that because of the unique circumstances here, that this was a natural disaster because it's borough shade trees that caused the uplifting sidewalks, I would be in favor of making these replacements. I think it's a good thing to do. We had an opinion from our former borough attorney, Mr. Sereski, that we could do this by resolution without even having to change or amend our existing ordinance, and that's what I think would be a beneficial thing. This side, did you have a comment, Ed? Al?
No, I've been in favor of the town undertaking these repairs.
Okay.
I think we should proceed because there's so many sidewalks right now. There's cones up all over the place,
Right.
they're just lingering. It's never going to get done.
By resolution?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there, you want to make that into motion?
I would make a motion to proceed with us taking care of this and entering into an agreement with New Milford.
All right. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
Were we given prices for curb replacement?
No, this contractor would not do curb replacement. There is some lineal footage, about 18 feet, maybe a little bit more than that, that needs to be replaced. We would have to address that another way and at another time.
Okay, so let's do this the Italian way. We should be replacing the curb at the same time that we replace the slab that's adjacent to that damaged curb. Otherwise, we run the risk of overpaying for replacing 18 linear feet of curb, and also for then doing what is known as a cold replacement, where you may still damage the road bedding, and then we end up with a pothole all along the curb. So since it's only 18 feet, and $20 a foot.
Mayor, if I may, in many of these situations, the stumps have been removed without damage to the curb. The sidewalk was lifted up by the fallen tree, so John Lynch has indicated where he feels curb needs to be replaced and where it does not need to be replaced. So I have some pictures here I'm showing the mayor. There are instances where the curb looks pretty good and it's just the slabs that have to be reset or damaged. So, like I said, we can rely on Mr. Lynch's figures for the curb and look to accomplish that in another bid somehow.
Take a look at the report, Vito. Let's do this sidewalk thing. You can take a look at the report, and because I went through it, I didn't go through it in any great detail, but I didn't see any major curb replacement problems. Usually we try to do curbing the same time we do paving, because we get a better price per foot.
Listen, I don't want to hold up the train over here. I mean, we said it was only 18 linear feet of curb, not 180. To me, that's even one more reason why we should be doing the 18 linear feet when we replace the slabs, but...
That's something to be discussed with the contractor, I'm just saying at
We
this
could
point...
always, we could always amend the resolution.
That's fine, let's move on, but the comment is made, contractor know that, not why we'd be asking for the moon.
Any further comments? All right, can we have a roll call?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Estrada?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman McNoll?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Mayor, if I may, before we leave this topic, I have drafted a resolution on this very topic. If the council is interested in looking at this, you could add it to your meeting tonight by amendment. Denise, would you pass it out, please?
Vito, the resolution includes curbs and/or sidewalks.
Yes. Border wide.
All right.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
I make a motion to adopt this resolution.
Put this resolution on the
As first
agenda?
reading, yeah.
Second.
Any further discussion?
No, we can put it on for the regular
Okay.
meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, good. This would be resolution number what?
That's the last one.
$13.79?
Yes.
Okay.
1379.
All right, moving right along, Colgan Road, Green Acres funding.
Mayor, if I may, I've been in touch with Lisa Stern, the team leader for the State of New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection Green Acres Program. Last week, she made a site visit and called me and told me that she was satisfied with the visual state of the park. She complimented us that it was very much improved. But on January 15th, I received a letter from her indicating that there are a few outstanding items. One is a response action outcome plan, remediation plan with regard to the agricultural use of the property that needs to be addressed. A package of information needs to be received regarding the former underground storage tank. And we have to submit a completed copy of the questionnaire that was sent to the property owner by the consultant. I've moved these questions on to our environmental consultant, who provided me with a packet of information on the underground storage tank, which has now been forwarded back to Lisa Stern. He's also indicated that the review is in progress at the DEP. He's been contacted by the reviewer and requested that we complete 2 additional forms. The firm is working on completing those forms and will send them to me probably this week for signature, and then we will forward that back to Green Acres as well. So we're down to these 3 items at this time, and we will work diligently to complete those items and, get this all back to Green Acres so they can evaluate it and move us on.
All right, thank you for that update. Number 4, elected officials training.
Yes, I'd like to ask Denise to bring you up to date on the training that we do every year. The mayor and council do training by the Joint Insurance Fund, which allows for a $250 reduction in our assessment or premium if for each elected official that completes the training. So Denise, if you'll take it from there, we'll talk about how we can accomplish this.
Well, there's actually 3 different ways, Mayor. You can do it online, everyone can take the training online. Or there are 3 different towns that are having the training in January, February, March. 2 that were on the same meeting night this week. That's one of the problems. I called the JIF, they are willing to come out and do training here. I have to give them dates when it will be available. Alan said we should reach out to Milford and Oradell. It's difficult because the Milford basically meets on the same night, adding the second Monday in the month where they're off. Oradell is on Tuesday. It's up to everyone if you want to just have somebody come in here during the work session. It's an hour, because the training is an hour. We tried to set this up similarly for OEM. We had trouble with New Milford and Oradell, if you remember, and nobody else came. Because they meet on the similar nights,
Right.
it's difficult.
What are the 3 towns that are having it?
Coaster's having on a Wednesday, that's tomorrow though. February 11th, they're having on a Monday at 6:30 in Woodcliff Lake. And what's 4th, they're having at 7 o'clock in Demorest.
That's a Monday too?
It is.
All right.
The Monday, February though, is an off night for our council.
Now, if we wanted to take the course online, can we take it, can more than one person take it online at the same time?
I'm not sure, I have to look into that. It just gives you a description of what you have to do. You probably, now when I discuss this, you probably have to print out something at the very end saying that you watched the video, the training to get the credit, which would make sense. So I have it for each person, would have to do it on their own.
On their own computer?
You can, definitely.
Print out a certificate at the end.
Right, you can do it on your own computer. But they need certificates to prove that everyone is watching.
No, I mean, if we all watch the same computer screen for an hour,
I don't know if you'd be able to print out 7 different certificates, though. I have to find out.
can you find out?
Sure. Okay, so that would be the way everyone, is that the...
No, that's
everyone?
just my suggestion. Everybody can take it individually.
I mean, what's everyone's opinion on...
I mean, everybody probably could do it at their home computer, and you probably have to answer
Yeah.
some questions online,
Right.
and that tells if you've watched the video.
Exactly.
Yes, get a code and then write it
I don't
down.
think it's that difficult.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is.
Not even that
So
strange.
that would be the option
You'll
also.
walk away.
I mean, as opposed to me trying to set up a...
Yeah, so it's an hour?
Fine.
It's an hour program?
Well, he said the training is an hour. I'm not too sure if you go online how long it will take you to do.
Mm-hmm.
I would assume it would be that long.
What length of time do we have to complete this?
May 31st.
Oh, so between now and then.
Yeah, just give us
Also,
the
yeah,
information.
the
Have a
website.
Jip
yeah.
party at my house, okay?
Well, then, there you go.
I get some Jiffy Pop, and then we'd be all ready.
And Jif Pop and Jif Peanut Butter.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll send this information out to everyone, Mayor, and I'll also inquire about everyone doing it together.
Because Oradell did come when we had the meeting here. They did have members of their council here. No, they did.
OEM? One?
Yep. They were here.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you send in everybody's correspondence the letter from the Jip on how to go online to take this online course?
No, I didn't, yeah.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
I guess you can put it in our mailbox.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
No, thank you.
All right, some continuing items for discussion. Roto and Cotton Associates, the utility audit.
Yes, Mayor, if I may, an update on this. Sam Soresti had issued an opinion, a legal opinion, on whether the firm would qualify as an EUS, and he indicated that they would have to provide some additional information, a certification could be done, and he feel it could be accomplished with an EUS. But in that legal opinion, he also asked that we reach out to see whether any of these had been done competitively. In my research, I determined that the Pascack Valley Cooperative had gone out to bid and had made an award to a company for similar services. I obtained the specifications and the award from them, and their award seems to me to be a little bit more advantageous than the presentation by Coteen Associates. For example, the Coteen Associates had proposed auditing utility and telecom bills. The Pascack Valley Group has audits of electricity, street lighting, natural gas, water, fire hydrants, landline telephone service, landline data service, wireless phone service, wireless data service, cable TV service, sewage, insurance. The Coteen had a 50% sharing with a 3-year payback, and the Pascack Valley had varying percentages based on the number of municipalities that would participate. So their percentages looked like they were anywhere from 40 to 60% to 35 to 65%, with the 60% going to the municipality or 65% going to the municipality. So this seemed to be, frankly, a better deal based on the aggregate bid that they had done with many other municipalities. Based on that, I reached out to the lead agency. They provided me with a form of a resolution. If you're interested in joining the Pascack Valley Cooperative for this particular bid, we can do that, and then try and take advantage of the services of this firm for these different utility audits. That's where we stand with this particular issue. I'll open it up for discussion on what we want to do.
I think we should investigate this. I mean, I think this is something that we should definitely be looking into. And if this other agency gives us a better percentage, that should be something we should consider.
The thing is, we've been investigating for a year now. It's time
I know,
it's time to give the job to somebody.
I would make a motion to join with the Pascack utilities and move forward.
Is there a formal resolution already prepared?
I haven't prepared it for tonight. I would have it on for the first meeting in February.
Okay.
I would second that.
We need a second, right? We need a second. Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, good.
Thank you, Mayor. We'll move that forward.
Next is a change order for the Borough Hall generator.
Mayor, I'd like to ask Ed Mignon, Councilman Mignon, to comment on that, please.
Yeah, Mayor, this is a change I had spoke about the last time. What this intends to do is to essentially consolidate some existing panels that we have in the public safety building. It rewires certain circuits which were not part of the original emergency panel into a new emergency panel. And essentially the purpose of this will be twofold. One will be when we actually do the switch over and we shut off the power, we can run all the emergency operations on a standby generator as we've done in the past, or we haven't been able to in the past because not all the circuits have been on the emergency panel. Secondly, this stands as a redundant backup in the event that the main generator does fail, that you'd still be able to bring in a standby diesel generator and have all the police functions still operate as the police originally intended, which they can't do under the current design.
This wasn't considered when they were looking at the proposal initially?
No, because the idea is we have a generator which will now take over the whole building.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no need for it. But
Well, they knew
when the
they
police
were-
thought about it, the police said, well, what happened, and you start thinking about the what-ifs. When during the transfer, they wouldn't be able to have all their services as they can't now during an emergency. But it just makes more sense in the long term, especially now if, usually it's the other way around. Generally what happened this present storm is we ran out of diesel fuel, so the gas generators were able to work. But sometimes you have a situation where you may have a drop in gas pressure, and the gas generators don't work, and you'd have the ability to bring in at least a diesel generator to run the public safety building. And that's why the police recommend it, OEM have recommended it, I think it's a good idea also.
Do you think this will be the last
This
change
is the
order
last
on this
change
one?
order. We should be getting, I should say, there should, usually at the end of a project, there's a final change order with minusing all the debits and credits, so there might be a final one just to
Well,
make
hopefully the
numbers come
final
out.
one will be like a...
But it shouldn't be,
Does this, my question is, does this change order exceed the 20%?
no, it doesn't.
It does not.
No, we're almost there, but this is it, yeah. Remember, the first change order was because after we designed it and had approval from PSE&G, PSE&G decided this was new construction, not retrofit, so they made us relocate the transfer switch from inside to outside. Second change order was at the borough's request because we were not satisfied with the proposed mounting of the transfer switch outside structurally and/or aesthetically. And now this third change order is addressing different electrical issues which should be addressed.
Because now that's bringing it up to 226,159.
Yep. And the original proposal was over $360,000, so we're still way below what the original project was.
All right, any other comments? Is there a motion on that?
I'll make a motion?
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the change order?
Yes.
Is that correct? Am I stating it correctly?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, next item is cancellation of taxes, Block 1204, Lot 5. I believe this is a tax penalty of $15 dealing with a taxpayer who gave us a check that may not have been made out properly, and we're giving them the benefit of the doubt and waiving the penalty. Anything anybody would like to say? Alan, you got any comments?
No, this has been reviewed,
It's been reviewed and
by
reviewed.
several elected officials and subcommittees and with the tax collector. and, It's really at the discretion of the council.
Just good public relations. It's a small penalty.
I make a motion to waive the fee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. Okay, next is a request from a resident to waive a traffic control fee. In your correspondence, you may have seen a letter from a resident who spent a significant amount of money to remove a damaged tree due to the hurricane that will remain nameless. In addition, he had to remove another tree and the removal of which encroached upon the roadway, and there is a request to waive the outside traffic officer to direct traffic for that removal. So, Alan, you have any other information you want to provide?
We've only had one other incident like this where some consideration was given to a resident on a police protection matter with regard to the replacement of a sewer line. So there is some past precedent for giving some consideration to a local resident who, has had to have additional police protection because of the street location.
All right, I'll open up to the floor. Any comments? Would anybody like to?
I would make a motion to waive the traffic control fee for this resident.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? We can have a roll call.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Michael Feder?
Yes.
Councilman Paula?
Yes.
Councilman Jones?
Yes.
Councilman Guadalupe?
Yes.
And Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
All right, thank you. These are just good public relations and quality of life issues for our longtime residents. All right, work session consent agenda. There's one item to award a contract for the ADA doors. Finally. Would anybody like to?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, council reports we're going to do at our public meeting this evening. Mayor, I will give a report also. Is there any unfinished business?
I think at Saturday's meeting, I made a request about looking for any existing floor plans or drawings of the American Legion. Councilwoman Murphy pointed out to me that in fact she did find some drawings at the building department. So I would like to make a request to receive copies and hopefully distribute the copies to the entire council.
All right, is there
Or
any...
at least those who are interested in.
My question is, are they the big pieces of paper?
Yes.
Well, they're not, I mean, big is in the eye of the
No,
beholder. I mean, to me, they're not
Are they
big.
full-size prints?
Are they full-size prints?
They are, but it's only 18 by 24. They're not
So-
even 24 by 36.
So,
So
I don't need a set.
it's a very
Because I have
manageable
enough
size.
paper. If a council member would like a complete set of the plans, let Denise know and she'll make you a copy. Otherwise, we can save a little paper because I don't need a set. I don't know if does everybody want a full set?
Can I?
All right, you're gonna get a full set.
Can I?
What? Go ahead.
Can I get the prints? I'll make the prints in my office at no charge.
I don't want a set. Don't
No,
give me any more
whoever
paper.
wants a set.
Nobody does.
Yeah, nobody
does.
No.
Then give
I have
me
a
your-
policy
give me
of
the
not
original.
allowing original documents out of the borough's hands, so we can make a copy, which we can provide to Vito if he so chooses to make additional copies, but all originals stay with the borough.
That's
my policy.
That's the policy. They're
Fine,
original
it's the
documents.
policy. I just said it's...
We appreciate it. We'll get you one copy, and then you can do what you want.
All right, does anybody else want a copy?
No.
Either from Vito or from Denise?
I know what it looks like.
Okay, good, we got that done. Any other unfinished business? Any new business?
Yes, Mayor. Denise had sent some correspondence out regarding our soil movement ordinance. There's some confusion. The last planning board meeting, we had an application from a resident who came in for a major soil movement permit, and the extent of the soil movement was to excavate a basement for an addition to the house. We had several of those the years prior, and at the planning board, we decided that these were not, since we were not affecting grading or drainage of the adjacent properties, that these probably should be waived and be handled administratively. You still have to get a permit, but you go right to the borough engineer's office and submit the information to him and meet all the requirements that way. You would not have to have a public hearing and come before the planning board for that. So I was a little confused when they showed up with the same application, and then did a little research, and I know we had addressed it. The planning board attorney, Arthur Neese, had written a memo to the mayor and council in the fall of 2011, basically outlining some language changes to make this exempt from public hearing requirements. Apparently, we discussed it at a work session. We gave Sam an okay to amend the ordinance, but we never completed that action. The only action that was taken with respect to the soil movement ordinance was changing the fee at one point. So I'm just asking that we redistribute the information that Mr. Neese had given the previous council and consider it again for adoption. It's just an administrative burden to homeowners to come in, to have to go through a public hearing process and notifying people for 200-foot radius and hiring land surveyors to do topographical surveys for the fact that they're only excavating for a basement and they're not adding any walls, they're not changing any grades, they're not changing any drainage conditions on a property. So, again, it's just something to streamline the process and make it easier for residents.
All right, Ed, did either the planning board attorney or the borough attorney give the council any proposed language?
Yes, there was a memo in December or September of 2000.
David,
Yes, it was,
Okay.
Denise sent it out by email, but
All right.
we can redistribute that and look at the language, and Mr. Costa commented on it.
I remember seeing it now.
So-
okay. I can give you a paper copy of that.
No, I don't want any more paper.
So we may want Mr. Saul to review the language and then just modify the
And then
ordinance.
just put it into a form of an ordinance.
Yep.
Then we'll put it on for first reading. Wait a minute. We need that's a motion, we
That's a
need a
motion.
second.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? All right, thank you. Now we can put it in a form of an ordinance for first reading. Any other new business?
Just one other item there.
Yes,
And
Ed?
it's basically following up something we did tonight the second time now we've modified outside duty for police for residential projects. I think we should review the ordinance and see if that needs to be modified.
Okay. Mr. Sarlo, you can take a look at the ordinance and
Well, the first time that it was modified was because of, like, it was missing one word,
Well,
like the
Yeah.
word "of,"
yeah, well,
and they got charged $135.
instead of 135 per hour.
Right.
But I'm thinking we should look at whether we want to be billing residents at $135 an hour, or whether there's going to be certain exceptions for emergencies or other things. And
Well, really, if a
I-
person, I think it is excessive. I mean, the amount of money that they're spending to fix whatever, and then they have to pay that on top of it.
I don't disagree, but there may be something that's required if you're on a busy street, but I think we should look at the ordinance and see if there's circumstances that it could be
I
modified.
mean, you could have a block party and pay $25 and, you know, have a drink while you're watching it, and it closes down the street the same way.
you got
You have a point.
I just think it's an issue that should be...
Can't argue with that logic.
Yeah.
It's, it's all, I think we keep our finger on the pulse of things if we do it on a case-by-case basis.
Uh-huh.
That's my personal opinion. But if Ed wants the borough attorney to look at the ordinance, then we can look at the ordinance.
That's what I was looking at.
Any other new business? Ed?
Nothing
No.
else.
Anybody else? Okay. Can I have a motion to open the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, the hearing is open to the public for any comments, any statements, any questions. We're going to open, I just want to let you know that we're going to go into our public meeting at 8 o'clock. We're going to open up the meeting to the public again for any issues or statements or questions, just to let everybody know. But I saw a hand up, so, ma'am, can you stand up and give us your name and address?
Judy Gurian, 39 Coles Court. I want to thank the council and the mayor for their service, but we have a big problem over there. Coles Creek runs from Van Zorn Park into the river, to the Hackensack River. It runs past our house between, I own property on the other side of the creek. That creek was dredged at least 20 years ago by the Army Corps of Engineers. About 5 years ago, I got in touch with them and said, why aren't you coming back to dredge the creek? They said there's a big waiting list. The mayor has to apply from the different towns, and there's a waiting list. It's 5 years at least now, and it's 20 years since that's been dredged. What's happening is that if it's shallow, you can walk across that creek now behind our houses. So therefore, and since then, 2 of my neighbors have erected fences on the easement. Now, I don't know if that's legal or not. The easement belongs to the town. There's about 2-foot easement from the creek to my property, and on everybody's property, that's true. They have erected fences. The debris from the trees back up against the fence. It forms a natural barrier. Therefore, the water comes up on my property. I've lost about 2 feet of property. My neighbor at 43 Coast Court has lost even more. I would like the council to look into the legality of those fences, and also to put a bomb under the Army Corps of Engineers so they'll do something to dredge that creek. They used to come in regularly to do it and spray against mosquitoes. They don't do that anymore. So I don't know what to do about it.
Mrs. Girls, how far are you from 7th Avenue?
Well,
Far?
we're on the Paramus border,
Right.
behind what was the fish store. I don't know what it's called now. All the way near Route 4, actually.
Oh, you're by Route 4, okay. Yes.
Raymond Stitz, 210 Mohawk Drive. To answer, give some more information to the young lady here about the creek, because I walk my dog down there every Saturday morning. And someone did do work down there, south of where you come into Eastbrook, you know where that little park is, and the trail is? If you go south of there, between there and Route 4, behind the Chrysler dealership and everything, somebody was in there, and they pulled all the old trees out, and on the Paramus side, they reinforced some piping that came down. They put some stone mesh up to reinforce the bank. But it's on my list of things to tell you about. After Sandy, and what this was done was to remove all the dams and everything, the natural dams that was caused, and was great for a while. But after Sandy, trees went back down, and you have a dam set up again. So you might want to reach out to Paramus, because apparently they had work done on their side, because they had a backhoe in there and everything to remove the trees, and they put it off to the side. So they did clean it out, but Sandy put all that, work to naught. But now you have trees back down there, and especially down around the other end. I imagine where this woman lives, down near the end of the school. Some trees have fallen, some really big trees have fallen down lengthwise into the stream, and it's starting to divert. So, you might want to check with Paramus and see what they did, and see if they have, it might even be the mosquito control commission or something like that. Maybe you can get those people back in. But they did do extensive work south between, let's say, we came into Eastbrook, I'm on Mohawk, so when Mohawk comes over and that big conduit goes underneath valley into the stream, they had cleaned it all the way out down to there. And there was a lot of work done on the Paramus side. So it might be something that's still open that maybe we can get into.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Another question?
Alan, anything to say?
Well, when she mentioned the spraying, it sounded more like the Bergen County Mosquito Commission, who does do stream clearing as opposed to the Army Corps of Engineers.
It was the Army Corps that came in every year, or the Demons that they came in every year. I mean, and it was deep. Now it's about a foot deep.
We'll take a look into it, Mayor, and see who we can reach out to.
All right, Mrs. Girls, I will write a letter to the appropriate authority, whether it be the Mosquito Commission or which I think it is. It sounds like something that the that the Bergen County Mosquito Commission does on a regular basis. They
don't dredge the creek, though.
Yeah, they clean out brooks and streams. They do what's called desnagging and some dredging. So I will ask Borough Clerk to draft a letter on my behalf to request that, to put us on the list, as you say. All right, anybody else? Yes, sir.
I'm just getting over the cold. James Miller, 885 Park Avenue. I was here back in December. I appreciate the council tabling the second vote that was proposed for the Park Avenue duplex zoning change of the whole avenue of Park Avenue. We've had a number of neighbors we've talked to which are now aware of the situation, but something came to my attention today. I originally thought the meeting would be tonight, and a couple weeks ago Denise called me and said it would be the following week where we'd have the meeting. But now we understand it's going to be on the Tuesday, that the week that all the kids are off. I'd ask that even though you guys might be here, or some of you might not be here, if you have kids, usually people take them away for that week. I found out where I should ask the question, if this is the case, that if the meeting is still on the 19th, which is a Tuesday after the holiday, but again, the kids are off that whole week, it would be a imposition, because a number of the people that would show up, either they were going to come next week, or even the week after, but because they're going to be away, it would just not give them an opportunity to speak. Because if that ordinance gets proposed on the first reading, I understand that the planning board is 2 days later, so there'd be 2 meetings in a holiday week. And I brought this up to Denise, but she said they mailed out the letters. I don't know if there's something you could do and move it either to the week before or the week after, and you would have a larger turnout, which one of the councilmen said he wished you would have a large turnout every meeting, which I came a little early so I could hear. I've been to a council meeting before, but also I just want to give you a copy of this. This is an ad, just to see how people are thinking that this ordinance is already approved, where they want to put duplexes all the way up our street. Other neighbors up the street are just finding out about it because they're not within that 200 feet. And I appreciate that you guys put off the vote because you'd realize that most of us only had 3 days' notice. So I gotta recommend, I think that, I'm glad we came. But this is a new ad for a property that's on the east side of Park Avenue. I'll give you this. This just went on the listing today. And they said that there's other possibilities which might be something to look into. The property is 125 feet wide, and there are 2 4-family houses right next door. They're already saying that there's 2 4-family houses there, and it hasn't even been approved. And they said, with the right lawyer and information, who knows what might be done. This is very interesting to show you how aggressive the real estate people are trying to sell houses.
Okay.
You can put that in the record. But, so when you talk to your neighbors, they say, what's the fix in already? They're already recommending lawyers to contact the town to try to build bigger projects in our neighborhood. So if there's a way we can maybe move that the following week, and again, if the zoning board meeting is that week, it's just an imposition that most of us have planned to go away that week. And again, you can't really plan on when you have these type of battles where you have to fight for your neighborhood. And again, I might cancel my my vacation. I have a house up in Vermont. But the thing is that, you know, I don't know if that's a possibility. If you can move it. So, I mean, we plan on bringing 60, 70 people here that live in the neighborhood. So.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Anybody else? Yes, Mr. Stitz?
Trying to make this here. 210 Mohawk Drive. On the sidewalks, 2 questions. With the cost and everything, do we have any excess money left over in other bonding that we did, the street pavement and whatever, that we can have the town allow us to rededicate to pay for those the $7,000 fee instead of becoming out of our treasury? You might have some, $2,000 in this bond issue, $3,000 in this bond issue left over. Request that community development allow you to rededicate it, and you can dedicate it to replacing the sidewalks. Just a thought.
That's a question from my CFO.
Okay. We did it where I used to live, so.
Yeah, the money can be reappropriated of ordinances. You have to go through another ordinance process in order to accomplish that. The Finance Committee is scheduled to meet on the 28th to review all of the outstanding ordinances and discuss what projects they want to reappropriate. This money, right now, I believe would come out of an emergency appropriation that we passed to address, issues with Hurricane Sandy.
Right, but that's still coming out of our checking account. That's pretty much empty. When we have a savings account of unused bonding that we can probably use. Because though you just cite 36 slabs, that we have to fix, well, now I didn't have that problem. But I know down in the Soho section, that's south of Howard, a lot of people took it upon themselves to fix their own sidewalks and everything. Okay, now, I imagine when they find out that you're fixing sidewalks for free, they're going to come back to you and say, oh great, here's my bill, I would like reimbursement. And if they take it to court, they're going to really win. Because they were looking out for the public safety, and they're going to be held harmless, and the town's going to have to pay. So this $7,000 really might be $10,000 when you get done with it. So just the thought of looking into that unused bonding money to pay for that. Down by the service road, where you come off Route 4,
Right?
last year, my daughter was in an accident. Her car was T-boned. She had the right of way, and the other driver was found guilty. But the people coming off Route 4, I know driving in New Jersey is a contact sport, but they don't realize that the people going east, I guess it's east on that service road, have the right of way. If we can get a sign up there or get the county, since it's a county and state road, we put a sign, oncoming vehicles have the right of way. They might not read it, but it gives us half a chance of survival, because it winds up being a death watch between you and the other driver. You know, is he really going to stop? And I imagine if we check with the police department, there have been accidents like that down there. And just like we have on Kinnekumack, where River Edge Road comes up and gives you that warning that oncoming traffic have, that there's a delayed light, we should do the same thing down there, because, you know, living down there, you have some nuts coming off Route 4, especially in the morning when everyone's in a hurry. So, just a thought.
Coming off Route 4 going west.
Yeah, when you're going west on Route 4 and you come under the walkway,
Right.
you know, they're supposed to really stop.
Yeah, it's one-way traffic, and then if there's a stop sign, then it becomes two-way traffic.
Right.
And the drivers that are speeding don't know all of a sudden it's two-way traffic.
Right, and the drivers going eastbound, they really have the right of way.
They have right away around the curve.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're new to the area and you're coming up, you might not realize it, and you could get somebody killed eventually. So, you know, it might be worth a $100 sign.
It sounds easy, Mr. Stitz, but getting the county, I'm dealing with traffic issues with the county now on bus shelters and things that you would think are easy to accomplish. You have no idea.
No, I do. I used to be there. On the sewer, on the group that we're going to join for audits of the sewer and utilities and everything, exactly what would they do?
What they do is that they can audit your bills back 6 years. They can take your electric bill, your phone bill, your gas bill, your sewer bill, your phone bill, and they could audit them back 6 years, and they can look at the rates and see if that the utility company has made any miscalculations. And if they have, they can request a refund of what you've been overbilled. And then they charge you for that, a portion of your refund.
Thank you.
All right, if there are no further comments from the public, I'd like a motion to close the hearing to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? All right, we have one closed session topic regarding potential litigation that we are going to do after the 8 o'clock public meeting. All right, so we have 5 minutes to take a break, and then we could begin our public meeting promptly at 8 o'clock.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Sure. All right, the meeting can come to order. This is the regular meeting of the River Edge Mayor and Council for Tuesday, January 22nd, 2013. The time is now 8 p.m. We will call the meeting to order. I will read the Open Public Meetings Act statement. Before doing so, could everybody please stand for a moment of silent prayer or reflection? Could Councilman Coppola lead us in a salute to the flag?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the mayor and council of the borough of River Edge have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted in the Borough Hall, and notices were sent earlier this year to the Bergen Record and the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to ensure essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy to safeguard our infrastructure, providing honest, courteous, and professional services, thereby establishing a sense of trust with our residents and minimizing risks. We do this through research and prudent planning, in order to improve our services. We are sensitive to the needs of the taxpayer while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints that are posed by state mandates and economic conditions and prevailing attitudes about taxation. We are on the record here, so we are recorded both audio and video. During the public portion of the meeting, if you wish to be heard and seen, you can stand, give us your name and address, and speak. If you wish to be recorded on the video, you can approach the table, and then you'll be on the camera. We have 3 exits in the courtroom, 1 to the back and 2 to the front. That's about it. That's the open public meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Here.
Councilman Estrada?
Here.
Councilman Capola?
Here.
Councilman Leon?
Here.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Here.
Councilman Papaleo?
Here.
And Mayor Mascarenhas?
Here. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the mayor and council for the sine die meeting of January the 1st, 2013?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the mayor and council reorganization meeting of January the 1st, 2013?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank you. All right, we have a proclamation tonight. We have a proclamation declaring that January 22nd through February the 2nd, 2013 is Catholic Schools Week. We have a proclamation drafted, and we have the principal of St. Peter's, Jim McCarthy, a teacher, Jim McCarter, and Jenna McCarthy, right? To accept the proclamation, and we have some students also.
Lauren is our president.
Okay, thank you. Hi, good to meet you. Let me read the proclamation. Whereas St. Peter's Academy plays an important role in our community by furnishing our leaders of tomorrow with basic human, moral, and spiritual foundations. And whereas the St. Peter's Academy strengthens the community and the nation by keeping viable the right of freedom of religion under law, and whereas the St. Peter Academy is intended to fulfill the threefold purpose of message and community service, and whereas the NCEA, the National Catholic Educational Association, has declared the week of January 27, 2013 through February 2nd, 2013 as Catholic Schools Week in the United States, with their theme being Catholic Schools Raise the Standards. Now therefore be it resolved by the Borough of New Milford in recognition, it is hereby proclaimed January 27th through February 2nd, 2013 as Catholic Schools Week in the Borough of River Edge, New Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, and we're always happy to come and pay you a visit this time of year, and we really appreciate the proclamation that will be on display in our hallways during Catholic School Week and when parents from other schools come to visit us and consider us. We have about 2/3 of our student council with us this evening. Our president here is Lauren, and there are many, many parents out here behind us too, and we all appreciate the time that you took to draft this and to present it to us.
Thank you so
very
much. Thank you so much for coming.
All right. Thank you. Now we go home and do our homework.
It's a school night.
Yep.
All right, we have some appointments and personnel changes on the agenda. First is to approve the appointment of John Evanko, 400 Berkshire Avenue, as alternate number 4 for a 2-year term to the Zoning Board of Adjustment effective January 2nd, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Motion to approve the appointment of Cindy Catry, 243 Van Saun Drive, as the mayor's representative to the library board for a 1-year term effective January 2nd, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Approve the appointment of Elizabeth Udens, M.D., 827 Bogart Road, to the Board of Health for a 3-year term effective January 22nd, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Approve the appointment of Anthony S. Alexander, 78 Coles Avenue, Hackensack, New Jersey, to the River Edge Volunteer Ambulance Department effective January 22nd, 2013.
He's here now.
He's, okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, we have Mr. Alexander is here?
Yes, sir.
Want to come forward, Mr. Alexander? Have you brought any family members with you? Okay. Can you bring your family member up?
If you stand on the other side, you'll be able to see it when you go to the website.
You can see it anyway. Right
Yes.
where you see it.
Stand over.
Wherever you see it on the screen.
Stand over here.
Yeah.
Come and get it. What's your name? Anthony, nice to meet you. Okay.
Don't try.
My first question is, you live in Hackensack?
Yes.
Why do you want to join the River Edge Ambulance, the River Edge Fire Department?
It's closer to home. I'm a current volunteer in Rochelle Park.
Okay.
It's much closer to home. I like the town. I have a lot of friends in town.
Are you going to be company number 2, company number 1?
Company number 1.
Company number 1?
Yes, sir.
Great. All right. I'm going to swear you in.
Okay.
Put your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. After I say aye, you state your name. Okay. I
I, Anthony Alexander,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear
that I will bear
true faith
true faith
and allegiance
and allegiance
to the same
to the same,
and to the government
and to the government
established in the United States
and to the government established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
And I state your name,
And I, Anthony Alexander,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties
all of the duties
of the office of fireman
of the office of fireman
in the River Edge Fire Department
in the River Edge Fire Department
to the best of my
to
ability.
the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
I get to do this one here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, here they are. I gave you the
All right. Mr.
Mr.
Alexander?
Alexander, can you come over here? That's not good.
Shows the beginning. So,
Yes. I see Dr. Eden is here. Come on up. Ready?
Yes.
Raise your right hand. Okay.
I, Elizabeth Oden,
MD,
MD,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear
that I will bear
true faith and allegiance
true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same,
and to the government
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
And I state your name,
And I, Elizabeth Oden,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties
all of the duties
of a member of the Board of Health
of the member of the Board of Health
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. Congratulations.
I can send over to you.
Is Cindy Cathy here? Is John Evanko here?
Yes.
Do you have it?
So,
And over here? Do you have any family members with you?
Yes.
Okay. Left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand. There you go. I state your name.
I, Johnny Vancho,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear
that I will bear
true faith and allegiance
true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the government
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
And I state your name,
And I, Johnny Vancho,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all of the duties
all of the duties
of a member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment
as a member of the Zoning Board of Adjustment
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, sir.
All right, next we have to approve the salary increase of Michael Varecchia in the Police Department from an annual salary of $117,501.84 to $119,761.49 due to an increase in longevity from 4 to 6% as per the negotiated labor agreement effective January 7th, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, next we have to approve the appointment.
Mayor, we move to table for 30 days the appointment of Michelle Austin to the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
All right, let me just read the appointment first.
Sure.
I see that I recognize that the motion is on the table. Approve the appointment of Michelle S. Austin, Esquire, 27 Warren Street, Hackensack, New Jersey, as the attorney for the Zoning Board of Adjustment effective January 22nd, 2013. There's a motion to table
Second.
for 30 days. There's a motion and a second. Any Any discussion? I did review the minutes of the zoning board meeting, and there seems to be an issue whether or not the appointment was a permanent appointment or not. That's what I got from the minutes, so we have to get clarification.
In reviewing the minutes, she was appointed, a vote was taken, and she was appointed as the zoning board attorney. So I don't know if they ultimately, at some point, later point in time, determine to terminate her as the zoning board attorney. Well, that's their prerogative, but as of right now, she is their attorney, based upon their vote. So
The
why would
minutes
we
actually
table
stay
that?
until further notice.
It's their right at any point in time to terminate. So they did appoint her, though, so I don't see why we
Like I
would
said,
table it.
The sentence until further notice.
I'm aware that Michelle has already submitted her application to be appointed as the permanent attorney for 2013. I'm also aware that I think at least 2 other applications were received by the chairman, and that permanent appointment will be appointed at their next regular meeting. That's my understanding. So there's a motion to table, there's a second. We had discussion, any further discussion? Let's take a roll call.
Councilman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Acofferta?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman Vignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
No.
Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
All right. There is a personnel change to approve the separation of David D'Elia, the police dispatcher, effective January 15, 2013. Everybody should know that Mr. D'Elia has been a police dispatcher for a long time. He's also a volunteer firefighter. He was hired as a full-time police officer in the city of Hackensack. Can I have a motion to approve the separation?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Personnel change to approve the reappointment of Kevin Connors, 259 Adams Avenue, to the Rent Leveling Board for a 1-year term effective January 22nd, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Wait, I wanted some clarification on Mr. Connors.
Oh, Kevin Connors?
Yeah.
Casey, well, he was
No. Oh, this is,
Casey.
okay.
This is Kevin Connors.
Well, that's the same gentleman.
That's the same name?
Mayor, he's called Casey, but his
Oh.
real name is Kevin.
Casey Connors?
Casey Connors, yeah.
Okay. All right, so
It wasn't in.
where did we get to? There was I read the change, there was a motion, there's no second, because there was a question.
Well, actually, Councilwoman Murphy did motion it, and Councilman Papaleo did second.
All right, so there is a motion and a second. And then, when we began discussion, there was a question from Councilman Bartoloni.
My question's been answered.
Okay. All right, let's take a roll call.
Councilwoman Murphy?
That's not why we're...
Councilwoman Murphy, yeah.
What, did the clarification surprise you too?
It's Casey
Somewhat,
Connors.
yes.
Okay, all right.
I would like to make a motion to come back to
withdraw your
this
motion.
issue. Can I do that? Because we all voted yes?
No, we didn't take a vote.
Ah.
There's a motion and a second.
I'm going to say no.
All right, you could vote no to your own motion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Councilman Acofferta?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
No.
Councilman Vignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
Councilman Papaleo?
Yes. What's the vote? It passes?
4-2.
I'm glad I didn't have to vote. Okay. There is a personnel change for the salary change of George Fink, laborer 1, DPW from an annual salary of $57,447 to $58,511 due to an increase in longevity from 8 to 10%, effective February 1, 2013.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Thank
Is that his real name?
As far as I know. Then finally, there is the salary change of Richard Stevens, general repair of the DPW, from an annual salary of $75,281 to $75,761 due to an increase in longevity, effective February 6, 2013.
So second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay. In addition to those personnel and salary changes, there is correspondence available, listed on the agenda, various letters and correspondence that can be reviewed at the clerk's office. In addition to the correspondence, we have monthly reports that are on file now from the police department for November, the fire prevention department from October until December, the building department for the month of December, the tax collector for the month of December, the traffic and safety committee, which recently met on January the 16th, and the planning board for, there's a typo, it should be December 2012, not December 2013. All those monthly reports can be viewed in the clerk's office. Or are they listed on our website? I don't know, just asking. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
All right. Next, we have our council liaison reports that we do every month. We have, beginning with Councilwoman Murphy, who is liaison to the Department of Public Works, the Shade Tree Commission, the Library Board, the SCORE co-liaison, and shared services between New Milford and River Edge and Oradell and River Edge. Councilwoman Murphy.
Thank you, Mayor. I had the opportunity to go down to DPW today and speak with John Lynch, and he was in a meeting with FEMA, and apparently they keep asking for the same information, and he keeps giving him the same information, and they have no date forthcoming to have our expenses for the storm paid. So it's been very frustrating. He said it's been like the third or fourth time. She might have came up and spoke with you today, Alan, as well. So we're still waiting on that. I spoke to him about the senior bus, and it's still undetermined whose jurisdiction to maintain the bus it falls under. The bus is in bad condition.
We have an opinion from our borough attorney.
About who's to maintain the bus?
Yeah.
He's under the impression it's the bus driver.
No. No. We'll have to get our new borough attorney to do an opinion.
Okay. Because the bus now is showing signs of early corrosion, and it is in bad condition. It's on the road to being taken out of service too soon due to neglect. So this will be the first undertaking, please, this bus issue. He thinks it's the bus driver's job.
Okay, all right.
The rec department made requests to DPW for field supplies, and the DPW submits their budget end of November, December. So he has a memo here responding to Bobby's requests about clay, and he would like to have a request for maintenance put in writing so he can put it on the calendar, as far as when you want the fields aerated, when you want the clay delivered. So I don't know if you got that memo, but he has that memo out there. The gas management system is 95% complete. There's a few electrical issues that need to be resolved, and it will be up and running. The shade tree did not meet last week, but I did get an email from Liz and Henry Semler. They were concerned about excess salt harming and killing the young trees. So when I was down at DPW, I spoke to John about it to see what can be done to lessen the impact of the salt, and I'm going to look into that. I did want to tell you that I had the opportunity to speak with the mayor of Demorest, Ray Swineski, and he praised you and all of the members of our Shade Tree Commission. He said we're very fortunate to have everybody that's on our commission. So that was an unsolicited praise, so he said, good job. Today, I also met with Dara and the board, and in front of you, there's pictures of this leak that just happened the other day in the library's roof, and underneath this ceiling tile were two very important computers that nearly were destroyed because of the leak. One is their finance computer, and the other is their circulation computer. So it's worsening the roof. So this was a result of a recent leak. They have a new Polaris operating system, and it's up and running, and all employees have been trained. I spoke to Dorothy Walker last week regarding SCORE, and apparently the lady that runs the events has been ill, so she asked for some help with trying to get new membership and their programming. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman. Councilman Acquafreda,
Yes.
Beautification Committee, Ad hoc Zoning Subcommittee, River Edge and Riverdale Schools.
Thank you, Mayor. January 2nd, the day after I started the new job, I attended the reorg meeting of the River Edge Board of Education. Basically, this is the meeting where the elections results were announced. The board elected a new president and vice president who took over, and the bulk of the meeting was dedicated to a detailed explanation of the River Edge school budget, because the Board of Education had made that one of their goals, to understand how the budget works, how it's put together, where the expenses are, where is the income, where is the expenses, which I found to be a very worthy propositions. And so it was a rather lengthy meeting, but with good results, and I'm sure it will make a difference when people understand that money doesn't grow on trees. So, on the 7th of January, I went back to my old alma mater and assisted to their reorg meeting. There were 3 new board members that were sworn in. A 4th one was appointed later on in the meeting. And there was a change at the helm of the board. Stephanie Hartman from River Edge was elected president, and Paul Barn of Oradell was elected vice president. To be noted, it is the first time in maybe 6 or 7 years that both the president and the vice president were elected with a unanimous vote. Perhaps they finally found a way to become a unified board. I introduced myself as the liaison to that board, and I was quickly labeled as the nightmare that won't go away. So they all thank you very much for that. Actually, I will make an effort to attend at least one of the monthly meetings for each of the 2 school boards whenever they're not in conflict with, obviously, the mayor and council meetings. On January 10th, I attended the reorganization meeting also, well, to a certain extent, of the River Edge Beautification Committee. And Ms. Caridi was elected as chairperson. The meeting was based on a full agenda, but most of the discussion centered on the Cherry Blossom Park. I requested that the committee kind of puts their head together and comes up with what they believe is the I'll use the word a winning scheme to be clear as to the scheme that should be brought forth. And discussion about that is already on next month's agenda. Other items discussed, the July float and parade participation, Christmas decoration for lampposts, potential suppliers of plants to be used in the fundraiser sale, garden designs, and the Easter annual plant sale in the firehouse, which will last 2 days, 1 week before Easter. The next month meeting was rescheduled to February 4th in honor of Saint Valentine's, who we celebrate on the 14th of February. So, I've had no action on the ad hoc committee. I will look into it and maybe contact the chair of the committee, which I believe was formed last year, and see where we want to go and what we want to do, and give it some impetus to it.
All right.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Capola, Construction Code Official, Property Maintenance, SCORE Co-Liaison, Historic Commission.
Historic Commission, I'll be meeting tomorrow night at 7. Other than that, no reports.
Thank you. Councilman Mignon, Police Department, Environmental Protection Commission, Green Team, Planning Board, New Milford River Edge Shared Services.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm pleased to officially report that the Green Team, under the leadership and initiative of Bonnie Stewart, has made all the submissions for recertification. We're cautiously optimistic that they will accept all the information we put in. I have every reason to expect they will. A lot of people to thank. I see Mr. Durant, and I know Bonnie, Liz Stewart has put a lot of time also updating the shade tree components of our certification. There'll be a lot of people to thank once we officially get certified, and I think the Green Team did a great job in putting all that together and getting all the information submitted. It was a very daunting task. The first time was daunting enough doing it the first time, but they changed the rules for recertification, which made it a little more difficult to make sure that we got it. We had to add more actions and a lot more documentation, so I'm very pleased that they were able to do that. Attended the Planning Board reorganization meeting last month. Kevin Dorr was reappointed chairman. Ellen Bastide has been elected vice chairman. We only heard one application. I mentioned it at the work session. It was for a major soil movement permit to facilitate the construction of an addition to a house, and that was all we had heard. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Mignon. Councilman Bartoloni, Recreation Commission, Traffic and Safety, Special Events, Technology Committee, Oradell Shared Services.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, a lot of members of the Recreation Commission are here tonight. One of the main topics of conversation at last week's meeting is open space and the allocation, which we'll be getting to shortly. And just going through their budget, capital versus open space. We went over their capital request last Saturday, so that's been discussed before the mayor and council already. With respect to the Special Events Committee, just some dates, keep them in the back of your mind. Volunteer Appreciation Day, looks like it's going to be April 6th. 4th of July celebrations obviously are on July 3rd and the 4th. The only downside this year is that it's the 4th is a Thursday, so attendance historically is a bit low because people take the 4-day weekend. And October 6th is going to be River Edge Day, so everyone may want to put that on their calendars as well. The other topic at the Special Events Committee is fundraising. We were talking about how to raise funds to put on, programming and keep that going. Also, we very much do need volunteers for that committee. We need people to volunteer. At the last meeting, it was me, Councilman Capola, Bobby, and Bill Watkins. That was it. So you had, we didn't have any of the other volunteers show up that day. So we very much do need people to volunteer to that committee if we want to increase the amount of programming and just, have that be successful. So anyone knows anyone who would like to volunteer, that would be very much appreciated. With respect to the Technology Committee, you can see we're going through a lot of that in capital in terms of the computers that the borough employees are using. Many of them are outdated. And also talking about technology for the council in order to have less paper and more digital communication. And I am interested in that audit because one of the things that I did notice during the hurricane was that a lot of people were using, use AT&T. And not to disparage AT&T, but I think people who had Verizon were able to better communicate with each other versus AT&T. That's just, anecdotal, but it seemed that way, and I do want to explore shifting from AT&T for borough employees to Verizon because I think it might afford us better coverage and ability to communicate during a storm, which was a problem during Hurricane Sandy, so I think that's something we need to investigate. And nothing to offer with regard to shared services.
Thank you, Councilman Bartoloni. Councilman Papaleo.
Yes. Councilman, I just want to confirm, April 6th for Volunteer Day, October 6th for River Edge Day.
Yep.
And 4th of July, those are the dates.
Yeah, the 3rd will be the concert in the park, and the 4th, obviously, the parade.
Okay, concert in the park.
Before you begin, Councilman Bartoloni, did you receive a notice for the Traffic and Safety Committee?
You told me about it, but thank you for bringing that up. But I think the meeting was 10 o'clock on a Wednesday?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah,
I just wanted to make sure that
that's extremely difficult for me to...
I wanted to make sure that I
to
didn't
meet because I have a job.
That I didn't forget to...
Yeah, I actually have to do something else other than...
Okay. All right, Councilman Papaleo, Fire and Fire Prevention Social Services, River Edge Alliance Against Alcohol and Drugs.
Thank you, Mayor. The fire department is having a department meeting on the 29th. I will be addressing the fire department at that meeting. I have met and been in constant conversation with the chiefs about different issues in the fire department and been kept abreast of all their activities. I would like to make mention, I'd like to thank Mr. Alexander. His first name, I believe, is Anthony. Anthony for joining from Hackensack. In fact, we have more than 9 out-of-town volunteer fire department people. We have from Hackensack, we have from Teaneck, and I believe we have at least one, let me just say that for certain, from Hackensack and Teaneck. We have a nice contingent from Teaneck. And most of our out-of-town volunteer firefighters do come from Teaneck, but we are now drawing from Hackensack, which is nice to see. There has been a slight issue with the Kensington Avenue siren, which is currently being looked into. It seems to be an electronic issue. The fire prevention, there is nothing at this time to add to the report that they submit to the council electronically, to Alan, and then it's sent to us as a PDF. Social services, there's nothing to report to at this time. The River Edge Alliance Against Alcohol and Drug Addiction, I have been in contact with the chairperson, and they are currently working with Alan and with the administrative offices to streamline the protocol for the processing of payment. There were some delays of payment to the schools, and the chief is assisting Alan and the chairperson in streamlining this process. It's going very well. That's all I have to report at this time.
All right, thank you, Ed. Al?
Is the Kensington siren not working?
There appears that is working on and off. That when the county is calling for if there is a building in jeopardy or life in jeopardy, that it is not working properly. The chief has reached out to the electrician who maintains this system. There are not too many of them, and they are going to be reviewing how and why it's functioning. The problem has occurred over the last 4 days only, so they are working expeditiously to maintain the safety of the town in this area.
All right, thank you. I have a few reports to give. The Traffic and Safety Committee met on last Wednesday. We want to embark on a pretty ambitious program of making our sidewalks and streets more user-friendly and safer for cars and pedestrians and bicyclists. The first thing we are planning to do is actually mapping the entire borough by having a map drawn up with the help of volunteers to show where every crosswalk is, every stop sign, every handicap curb, every one-way street, all the traffic devices, which intersections are signalized, which intersections are not signalized, so that you'll be able to actually, look at a map and be able to see where all the pedestrian and traffic improvements are in one place. That's in coordination with a resolution we adopted earlier last year called the Complete Streets Program. It will help us with grant writing. It'll help us knowing where the sidewalks are, which sides of the street have sidewalks, which sides of the streets don't have sidewalks, so we can plan routes more safely to and from schools, to and from the train station, to and from our businesses. So we're beginning that process. If you noticed, we put up pedestrian stanchions at the crosswalks, some of the crosswalks on Kinderkamak Road. Today I met with freeholder John Felice, and we discussed having the county approve a change in the speed limit on Kinderkamak Road from 35 to 25. The reason why I think it's a good idea is that Johnson Avenue in Hackensack is 25 miles an hour, then it speeds up to 35 through River Edge, and then when you get to Oradell, it slows down to 25 again. So there's no reason why we should have cars speeding through our town when in Hackensack it's 25 and in Oradell it's 25. So we want to lower the speed limit. I think if we lower the speed limit, we can get more pedestrians to cross Kinderkamak Road, to go from the residential side to the commercial side, to patronize our businesses, and it will be an improvement both economically and from a safety standpoint. So that's what we're doing on the Traffic and Safety Committee. I also have a report here from the River Edge Volunteer Ambulance Service. This is their January report to the mayor. For the year 2012, the River Edge Volunteer Ambulance Service responded to 657 calls for service. For the month of January, they responded to a total of 51 calls. One call required a second crew. 51 of the calls were for basic life support. 8 calls were for advanced life support. Members of the Volunteer Ambulance Service drove 438 miles and spent 129 hours on these calls. They also provided mutual aid to Oradell on one occasion. They made 20 trips to Hackensack University Medical Center, 10 trips to Holy Name, 6 trips to Valley, 2 trips to Englewood and Bergen Regional. The captain, Joseph Zemides, has now been elected president, and the new captain is Kate Beatty, who will continue to send me reports on a monthly basis. If any member of the public wishes to learn more about the Volunteer Ambulance Service, they can go on their website, or if they wish to volunteer, they can contact the Ambulance Corps, which is on Continental Avenue, and apply for membership. I also attended the Beautification Committee because I was just driving around aimlessly, and I saw the lights on in the Public Safety Building, and I went in to see who was having a meeting, and it was Beautification. And I see that they have a very ambitious agenda this year with not only all of the good stuff that they do to beautify our public buildings, but now they have the Cherry Blossom Park that we have to complete. We have to complete that project. And we spoke about getting some holiday decorations, because Kinderkamak Road is not looking the best when it comes to holiday decorations. Many of the other neighboring boroughs have spiffy holiday decorations that are lit up and look like beautiful wreaths or snowflakes, and it would certainly improve things if we had better holiday displays, but in order to do that, we need a lot of cooperation, not just from our volunteers who put in hour after hour, but we also need cooperation from our DPW, which is undermanned and understaffed because of the budget crisis and the economic condition. And when they're out, cutting down trees in a storm, they don't have time to put up all of the holiday decorations that we would like to do, and I understand that. What else was there? I'm looking forward to the July float that they're having, and participating in their fundraising activities for the year. Next, we have a public hearing for our Open Space, Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust. This is for the allocation of monies. I see that we have members here from the Recreation Commission, from Shade Tree, from the 9/11 Memorial, from Beautification, and Alan will make his comments regarding the DPW request. So can I have a motion to open the hearing on the Open Space Trust Fund to the public?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay. Alan, you want to go first?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'll be brief. To start off the request, we have one from the Department of Public Works for $9,200, representing a portion of their maintenance of parks budget for grass seed, chemicals, mowers and trimmers, things of that nature that I use to maintain the parks, and that information is before the mayor and council. In addition, we received an estimate to refurbish the soldier statue in Memorial Park. Some additional information has been provided to the mayor and council with regard to its history and restoration as well. Third item is the Cherry Blossom Park, the Bogart Road Passive Park. I've worked up an estimate for a curb line along the driveway of about $9,000 to establish a curb in the park itself. I do know we don't have on the board here a request from Beautification, but I see Michelle Caridi, the chair, here, and later on I would ask that you open up the hearing to her to see if she has anything to add to this particular request or any other that the Beautification might make with regard to open space.
Okay.
The only other one we received, and I don't know if we have anybody here from the 9/11 Memorial Gardens Committee. They presented a request for, I apologize. So they'll be making a presentation as well. So Mayor, you want to open it up to Recreation, Shade Tree, 9/11, and Beautification, that would be fine.
All right, Alan, just one question. I know you went over this when we were doing the budget on Saturday morning, but just for the benefit of the public, what is the anticipated amount to be raised this year in the Open Space Trust Fund?
Mayor,
Do we have a starting number?
Yes, I've done an estimate based on last year's net valuation. This year it won't be available until February 10th, but right now it stands at $143,765.21 based on last year's net valuation number.
Thank you. Okay, so that's our working number.
It's up on the board right there.
Yeah, you're right. Didn't see it.
Maybe we could hear first from the organizations that did not submit a number, so that because I could add all that up and it's less than that. But
All right.
I'd like to hear from maybe who did.
Oh, I can...
Adding all these up is less than that?
Well, except for the KVG lighting. Yeah. Obviously.
Mayor?
Yes.
I did speak with the chairman of the Environmental Commission, and I did say that I would put a request in for $1,000 that we did give them last year. And also, on behalf of the Green Team, I would ask for $2,000 to match the grant that they've gotten from Sustainable Jersey for at least one action they're undertaking this year is to reestablish the community garden at the middle school.
Mayor, if I may, the open space grant is for public park property, not for any other public property. So it would have to be something on park property. We're talking about the Cherry Blossom Park?
Well, no, they can decide what they want to do with this extra money. They've gotten $2,000 from the Sustainable Jersey, which they're going to apply for their project, which they said will be the community garden. If they want to implement other projects, they need a budget for that.
Is the community garden on public property?
If the community garden is on park property, then it would be appropriate under the open space funding.
No,
If
but
it's
they
not,
would, yes, but they would use the money they got from Sustainable Jersey towards that purpose if they can't use the open space money, and I'm sure there'll be other projects that they want to undertake that they can use this money for.
I'm just making a point, it should be
Yes.
on park property.
All right.
Just want to make sure they're represented.
Okay. All right. Who do you want to hear from first? Who's not represented? I think everybody's...
Well, the smallest one is 9/11 Memorial. I'd probably do them first, Mayor.
All right, let's hear from the 9/11 Memorial.
Of the other groups.
You can do recreation. You want me to come up?
Well, we figured you'll be the quickest. Well...
First of all, I want to thank the mayor and council. They've been very supportive of the 9/11 Memorial Garden for a number of years. It's been a partnership, and that's the approach we've always taken.
We all know you, but give us your name for the record.
Jim Conway, 831 Fifth Avenue, Woodbridge. I'm the treasurer of the 9/11 Memorial Garden Committee. Ann McCarthy, who usually represents us here, is working this evening, so in her stead this evening. We did submit a request. Again, it represents 50% of the monies we expect to expend this year in maintaining the park. We don't have any special projects going on this year in the garden, and so the amount that we're requesting represents 50% of the total cost of maintaining the garden for this upcoming year. Just like past year, for instance, we did some additional things, and there was additional monies expended, again, which we have always matched 50-50. And that would be our expectation for this year as well.
All right, any questions?
I do have a picture of the garden for those who haven't seen it in its greatest glory, and I'll give that out to the members as well, and move on.
What is this environmental solution?
But you take one of these.
Thank you. These life jackets. They keep last year's life jackets. Yes, but that's always replacing old ones.
Here, there's two different ones.
That's fun that we're cleaning up.
You like this one better? You want to switch? You might serve it, I don't know.
Different projects.
New York.
All right, thank you, Jim. Who's next? Recreation, come on up.
It looks like it's Photoshop.
It looks like
And,
I need a water feature.
an additional handout, you already have our budget requests. Alan, if you go to, you should have them in your packet.
Yeah, I've seen this stuff. Come on.
Hello. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for having us here tonight.
The Recreation Commission is asked, by the way, I'm sorry, I'm Bobby Conway, the Recreation Director, and this is our Recreation Commission Chairperson, Cindy Sherlock.
Hi, Cindy.
The Commission has asked that I review some of the recreation projects that have been funded by the River Edge Open Space Funds between the year of 2001 and 2011. Starting with some of the pictures you have, but they're also on the board. The Memorial Pathway, $120,000. The Memorial Picnic Area, which is pictured here, and you also have pictures, it's over $70,000. Our garden area, a project that was over $105,000. We've renovated the Kenneth B. George Field, the Little League Field, safety service, a service under our playground equipment. Our tennis court, we completed just 2 years ago, $242,000, a total reconstruction. And then the stream next to the tennis court, which was also a total reconstruction and stabilization for $92,000. Overall, $1 million. These are improvements over 10 years. Half of that came from River Edge Open Space matched with Bergen County Open Space. I wanted to give you a little bit of a history because the Recreation Commission certainly appreciates this River Edge Open Space and has used it very well for the development of the park and our fields. Now, what we also would like to point out is in the middle is our River Edge Open Space referendum mailer. The Mayor and Council asked us to support the referendum in 2012, and we did so by sending out a mailer to every single resident in River Edge, a very nice mailer explaining what the needs were for the Recreation Department and 9/11, Shade Tree, and the need for that referendum to pass. Not only that, we asked our sports leagues to support the referendum, and that was through email blast right before the election. So it passed, it barely passed, but I think the Commission wants to let you know that we feel as if, due to our efforts, that referendum was passed, giving us $143,000 this year, but over a period of 5 years, $700,000. Keeping that in mind, this is our request. Okay.
Can I just reiterate, just say one thing, is when this started over 10 years ago, the River Edge Open Space, it was for really recreation, shade tree beautification, to be able to do things that we weren't able to do in the capital budget, that we weren't getting money for in the capital budget. And it was really these commissions and committees that were the ones that benefited from it and were the ones that supported getting the vote out there for it. So I just wanted to let you know that it's for, like Alan said, it's for parks, historic, restoration and maintenance of our parks.
I know that all too well because we suffered for the past year when we didn't have the...
Yes, we did. All of us did.
And the facilities suffered as well.
And it was because, budget decisions were made that were not received well by the public. And because of that, the referendum failed.
Mm-hmm.
The public giveth and the public taketh away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So you went to a lot of effort by publicizing it, by supporting it, by getting out the vote, and the council is very appreciative of that. This council, anyway.
Thank you. As far as our request, you should have the packet. It starts out with the maintenance category. If everyone would like to follow along. Attached to what you have here are all the quotes of the items that are listed for park maintenance and field maintenance. The park maintenance, I'm going to go through very quickly. If you have any questions, please stop me. The wood fiber, it goes under our playgrounds and also our picnic area. The playgrounds especially, it's a safety required by our insurance. We have to have at least 6 to 8 inches of this wood fiber under our playground. Last year we did not order wood fiber, and therefore this year we must have the safety service for the safety of our children. The park signs were presented on Saturday as a potential capital item, so I'm not going to go through that, but the park sign refurbishing is for Memorial Park and our Brookside Park sign. The aerating and seeding of Memorial Park and Brookside Park, we haven't aerated or seeded for several years. The plantings for Memorial Park, the garden area, there are several plants that have died. It's really actually in bad shape. We haven't mulched that area for quite a few years, so we're asking for $2,000 for the plantings. The park attendant salary is for Carl Etter. He is my right-hand man in the parks for maintenance, repair, and every little bit of need in the maintenance and also repair, not only of the fields, but also in the park. The miscellaneous, those are supplies for the maintenance of the park, actually to support what Carl does in our parks in terms of maintenance and repair. So the total is $21,270. I'll move on to field maintenance if there are no questions. Field maintenance, the spring field maintenance is for the startup of our season for softball and baseball. Clay, edging, grading, lining up of the baselines and home plate, leveling of the field and so forth, and that's 7 fields for the $4,920. The beam clay is, there are 3 loads at $18,000 a load, $1,800, excuse me, a load, and again, that is for not only the spring maintenance, but filling in during the season, and also we need to rebuild the mounds at the Little League and KBG. Aerating and seeding of KBG, Little League, and Roosevelt. These are regular maintenance items that have to be done in order to maintain the field, keep it in a safe, and also make the facility available for our population so that we have something for the children and for the adults who use the field. The sprinkler system is set up in the spring, it's winterized in the winter. We have repair in between the heads that are broken during the season, so that's a $2,000 request. The dragging of the fields by request by Carl. The DPW has assured us that on Mondays and Fridays they will drag the fields. There are other times during the season when there are special tournaments or need because of weather to have the fields dragged other than the Monday and Friday. So that would be another $1,800. The total for the field maintenance only $20,000, $20,670.
Kathleen.
In this, your initial request and then John's memo back to your request regarding the aeration and seeding, it says here that the public DPW is willing to take that on in his memo, so that would be...
Can you read the complete sentence?
It says aeration and seeding can be done by Public Works Department depending on the times of the year it is requested by the Recreation Commission.
Right, and it's depending, last year he did not aerate and seed. So my question would be... We requested it and he did not do the aerating and seeding. We had to go out to a vendor because he did not have the time to do it, so...
When did you
our
request it?
question would be, if we say to DPW, April and August, as an example, 2 months, either one of those months, we need them aerated and seeded. It's now the end of January, so if we get that, we give him that request in February, is it going to be April 1st and he's going to turn around and say, I can't do it?
Well, he said that he would ask that you send every request so we can put it on the calendar in writing.
And we do.
We do.
Yeah, we send our
Everything's in writing.
request in. It's just that the last year he did not do it. So
And we don't want to get caught again this year.
that's why we asked for the money for this year. And so that's...
So if we can get him to commit to a date, that can be
We
removed?
can give him a date next week.
So that's
And that would
54.
also be for the Memorial Park and Brookside Park. We have aerating and seeding in Memorial Park.
Well, you have it listed over in Roosevelt on this thing.
No, it's under...
Aerating and seeding of
It's under-
KBG, Little League, and Roosevelt is under field maintenance, under park maintenance, aerating and seeding of Memorial Park and Brookside Park.
Are you saying that you refused to do it?
Yes.
Did you bring this to the council that you refused to do it?
No.
No, it's never brought to my attention either.
Is that not acceptable?
All right, you were up to capital.
Yes. On Saturday, the capital items were presented to the mayor and council, and so I just will go through them very quickly. The lightning warning system at KBG, Little League Field, and Memorial Park has a warning system for the safety of our participants, spectators. and the system was explained. I don't think you need for me to go into detail because the members of the mayor and council were there on Saturday. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. The Little League fence extension is for the protection of the spectators and also the players in the dugouts. And again, that is a netting that would go in front of the fencing for the protection. Kenneth B. George field light replacement. This is the second year we've requested it. We have a 28-year-old system down at KBG, and also the lighting is questionable. So we have asked for a replacement with muscular lighting, including soil boring for geological investigation for the poles that are being replaced, 8 poles. And again, I won't go into detail. You know, all the detail was discussed on Saturday. The last item is a Memorial Park, our handball court, perimeter, asphalt perimeter around that handball court is $9,500. And again, that was discussed on Saturday, so I won't go into detail. Okay, and that would be it.
Now,
Just a question for Alan. Can we aerate and seed Roosevelt Field through open space because it's the schools? No. DPW can do it though.
yeah.
How often do they aerate and seed? Is it just once a season?
Usually either in April or in the fall.
Yeah.
Do they do it both? Do they do it in the beginning of the season and
No, one or the other. It's one or the
Just
other.
one.
It depends on weather in April. It's sometimes it's hard to get on the field because it's too soft to put the equipment on to the fall.
Yeah.
Usually at the end of August, beginning of September. And then we have a nice field in spring.
When the DPW didn't aerate in the spring, did you put in the request again in August or for the end of the season?
We actually ended up waiting until the fall to do the aerating and seeding, and the request was put in the fall because in the spring because of the wetness of the fields, we didn't feel it was necessary to put the equipment on.
But did the DPW do the aerating in the fall?
No.
They didn't?
No. We had a vendor come in and do it.
Okay. Kathleen?
And the various dedicated trust accounts, is any money used from those accounts to offset the expenses?
The trust account for the user fees is basically set up for over and above the standard work that should be done and provided by the town, such as special clay, money towards the lights when they need to be replaced at KDG, rebuilding of a field, and basically over and above as supplement to the maintenance from the open space.
All these items, except for the park sign refurbishing, plantings for the garden area, everything has been in the open space from when we first started it 10 years ago. This is what we always used it for. So this is nothing that is just added in. This is what we use the open space money for. Because back when this whole thing started about 10 or so years ago, DPW was down then and they weren't able to take care of the fields, and we had just redone the Little League field for the second time. And we weren't going to come back to the council and ask for another field renovation when shame on us, we weren't having it maintained the right way. So in order for us, for this $1 million that we put into these facilities over the years, we need to maintain them. And shame on us if we don't. So that's really what everything you see here is what we've done from day one.
Kathleen?
So when you say that the trust account is used to go above and beyond what is given in here, like for example, you have $5,400 for this beam clay. Is that clay a special type of clay?
No, it's just your standard clay.
When do you use this kind of special clay that you would have to?
It's an absorbent, the special clay that's over and above the clay that we...
Yeah, the dry clay that you use.
It's a drying agent. It's quite an expensive drying agent that the Little League has determined at times that they want to purchase over and above the clay that we supply. And that has been done, and Regal is also, and that it comes out of the trust fund.
Do you know what the balance of the trust fund is? Do we know what that is?
It's $17,000 right now.
That's it for me.
Okay. Oh, Tom.
Bobby, I'd just like to go back to Saturday's conversation. It was my understanding that what we want to do is we want to set money aside either in a trust fund or however we would do it over a 3-year period so that we could do the lighting. So and it was also my understanding that we wanted to try to, over a 3-year period, put away 50% so that we could get a matching grant for 50%. So essentially, if I understand that correctly, and I wanted to clarify this, you're asking for 52,500 of the 143,765 estimated amount to be put in as for lighting, because that would be 1/3 working over 3 years. All right. So, and that money would be dedicated and would not be used for anything other than building towards the grant.
Right.
And my numbers of 52,500, does that generally jive with your number?
Well, it does. I mean, it's up to the mayor and council how much they want to set aside each year. And if fundraising needs to be done to bring that up to be $150,000 over a period of the 3 years, we could do fundraising, we could do an extra fee on the user fee, an additional. So, you know, I do believe that those who use it should also pay for a portion of it. So 52,000 would be, you're correct, 1/3.
Okay.
But if we find that we can't do that this year, then maybe next year there won't be to get more out of next year's open space.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, just one other question. These 2 signs we had talked about, but there's other signs too that are like in disrepair. We talked about bundling them and perhaps getting a better price. Do you know like what the other, are there 2 signs or 3 signs?
Yes, there actually are 2 additional signs, the entranceway in from Continental Avenue and Midland Avenue. And I have contacted the source that I received a quote from on these 2 items, and she's, I'm going to measure the signs and have Carl take a picture and send it to him, so we'll get a quote for her for the refurbishing. She also indicated that she would come to River Edge and look at our existing signs so that we could develop the new sign, the River Edge sign we requested, and she plans on coming down within the next couple of days to do
Very
so.
good, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shade Tree. What was found?
You have a request?
Yep.
So ours is pretty simple. Just a little bit of history. Our last request, significant request, was in 2009. That was a typical request for us yearly. That was the current trees in the park. After that, for the past 3 years, we've only received $1,000 total over 3 years. We've lost 41 trees between all of the parks in town, between salting, storms, just removals for old trees. So we have to replace that. So our request is to replace 30 trees within the park for $11,095. Mulching the arboretum trees, that's something that we typically do in the fall with our tree planting. We just go through all of those trees. There are about 40 trees that we have mulched from an outside contractor. They cut the bed, put the mulch down. And then gypsum is a product that we've been buying the past 2 years, maybe, to put on the smaller trees that are by the salting areas, and it helps protect them from the salt. It binds the salt so that it doesn't get into the root system. So we're trying to protect our trees in those areas. So our request is for $13,095.
Questions? Kathleen?
I'm just trying to bring it up right now. I just read in the New York Times that they're running some kind of program for free trees in New Jersey. Did you see that?
Free trees usually means
A seedling.
with seedlings. It takes 5 to 7 years. You need the maintenance. It costs more to raise a tree like that than to actually purchase a sturdy tree that
Did you see that article?
I
They were
did not
giving,
see it, no.
I'll forward it to
Can
you.
forward it?
Yeah.
We can take a look at it for something else, but as far as for street trees, that wouldn't be a good use.
How many trees did you plant this year, in
the park?
2012?
In the park?
No,
A total, 108 trees total.
108. You know approximately what the budget was for that?
That was from the bond.
That was from the bond, right?
Yeah. So we had, except for the three, we had $1,000 for 3 trees in the park. So we planted 3 in the park.
Right. And then we have about 60 would be planted next fall. That would be the remainder of the bond.
The remainder of the bond will be about 60 more trees?
Right, for fall planting for next year. And then that's it. That's all we granted. But again, you know, just to remind all council members, this open space money does not plant any of our street trees. We specifically for parks.
I hear that every year. I hear that every year, and I have to shake.
Well, it's just unfortunate because
and I have to shake my head.
Why you shaking your head?
I'm shaking my head because I don't think that's correct. I know that you believe that to be true, but I don't think it's a correct statement of the law. The law regarding the use of the open space trust fund.
You cannot plant money from open space on the street.
Well, says who?
Alan?
Okay.
Yeah, we threw that.
But there's no...
I think I have a legal opinion on this. So.
Okay. Well, I'd like to see it. Okay. I'd like to see that.
You know what, we did go down that avenue
Because
a long time.
the curb area to me is considered open space.
But it's not a park area.
No, that's right.
It's not recreational.
But this is the open space trust fund.
Mm-hmm.
I know Alan may have his own opinion, but Alan has many degrees. You know, a JD is not one of them. He relies on legal opinions. He's going to dig one up for us to read.
Well, if we can plant on the streets, we'd like to choose our...
Right.
Not so fast, not so fast. Okay. Any questions for the Shade Tree Commission?
And then there's just a quick, there's a second page, is the Recreation Commission asked us to put in a proposal for them for the pine trees at the tennis court area. There's been a concern for dropping needles. The trees aren't a hazard, we assessed them, but we did get numbers for them, so that's what this is for, so that's really under their request also.
I went by there today and I looked, there are 6 trees. Are they white pines?
They are, yeah.
They're huge.
Yeah.
And they're in a very, very narrow area. I would guess maybe it's 20 feet wide, 24 feet wide. It would be really, and there's a big tree that's not a pine tree that blocks access to the pine trees, where you'd have to do like a major trim job on that big, huge deciduous tree, whatever
Well,
that
they
was
probably
called.
use a climber for those last 2 trees.
Just to be able to get in, because you have to take them down one at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, the estimate I got was from Down Street Service, so they would do the removal, they have a crane, they would take away all of the wood, they grind the stumps. And then I talked to Chris Leishman, and to have our only tree guy who can climb do this work would be just detrimental. You know, he could hurt himself doing this. I don't think that would be a good use of his time or our equipment. It would probably take our DPW 5 days to do it. It just wouldn't be cost effective for them to do it. We did discuss that also.
I'm just wondering why, I mean, I saw that there seems to be, as I was walking along the fence by the tennis court, I could see that there may be been some drops of sap from the trees that drop onto the tennis court. It's just in that one border area, and is that the issue, that there's a fear that that's going to cause deterioration?
That's recommended.
This was excuse me, Liz, I'm sorry. When we originally did the construction on the tennis courts, Recreation wanted the white pine is taken down because the damage they were putting with the sap onto the existing courts. And Recreation felt with the amount of money that we were putting into the tennis courts, the way the trees were, they weren't really giving any privacy to the residents because of where the coverage is. It's at the top of the house line.
It was creating
So-
some tennis balls and from the family also.
Okay,
It's also
that would have been nice. Never mind.
Liz, I didn't hear your
So-
comment.
No, it's a
It
buffer.
does
It's
create-
a
it does create
buffer.
some sort of a buffer.
does,
It
some
does block
buffer.
noise, and it does block the balls from going on to, it doesn't create a full buffer. It wasn't, it's, you know, it's intended to.
So your argument is it's a partial
Well,
buffer?
no, I'm just presenting, they asked us to come up with a number, so we did.
Okay.
The trees are so high, some of these trees are like 60, 70 feet high,
Yeah, they're high.
and some of the pine boughs don't even begin until you're 20 feet off the ground.
Okay.
So the buffer area is, you know, maybe to the second floor of the house, or where if a ball should fly over the fence,
Yes.
it may, you know, it may be blocked by some of the pine trees.
Okay.
Recreation's concern was the amount of money that we put into our tennis courts. $240,000 of taxpayers, our money. It was our responsibility to make sure that we can maintain those. And then with the sap that was coming down from those trees, they're staining the courts, and we're not sure we're going to get those stains out. And the courts aren't even a year old. So we asked Shade Tree what a solution, if we could cut them down, and then if they could come up with a plan on cutting them down, what we can put back in that could be a buffer zone and not be detrimental to the courts. And that's what we asked Shade.
Mayor?
Now,
I play on the courts, and it is a problem. The courts are sticky. There's pine needles on the courts. You're trying to play, and you go to pick up your tennis ball, and it's stuck, you know, this pine needle stuck to your ball and stuck to your feet. The sap sticks to your feet, and it is getting into the court itself. So it is a problem. It is a problem for that side of the court.
well, you know, all I want to say is that for Shade Tree to even acquiesce to removing healthy trees is surprising, because these trees are so big and mature. But more importantly, how are the neighbors going to feel that you're taking away all of this screening?
You know what, no one likes change. What can I say? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be someone that's not going to like it, but if we can plant something that down the road will give them some type of a buffer, you know, the people that I think, when I go to look at the tennis court area, look at the homes, those people that sit on their decks, they're really looking just at a trunk of a tree.
Right.
You know, it's more, like you said, is once you get to the second level, yes, I don't know if tennis balls go into the trees.
I just think that you're about halfway there, because before you embark on this project of taking down these massive trees, you should have a design on what are you gonna put back there? What
And
kind
that's
of,
what we asked Shade Tree to do.
you know?
It's in the proposal. If we were granted it, we wouldn't want to do this project without replanting. It's all one thing. It's not just remove them and not plant. So if you were to approve this, it means that we will be replanting also. And it's not part of our formal request either. This is a separate request. The replanting would be a mix of American holly, rhododendron, and viburnum. And those are all plants that would grow in a dry area and a shady area, which that's what that is. We also talked to DPW about replanting, what needs they would need to get it back there for maintenance, so we kept that in mind also.
All right, so the replanting would be $4,500?
Correct.
I mean, I'm not an expert at all, but I mean, you're only proposing 18 plants, 8 trees and 10 shrubs over the entire... I know.
Have you walked the site?
Yeah, I know it well.
It's a similar area, and they also talked to us about getting back there with their equipment.
But it's
Then it leaves you...
two tennis courts back to back. That's a long area.
It's
I mean, I
20
could-
feet, and we spaced them 20 feet each with the bushes.
I mean, I could go to Home Depot, get 100 arborvitae for $40 a piece, plant them, and you'd have a nice hedgerow that'll grow about 12 feet tall.
Arborvitae wouldn't grow in that.
They don't, I did that.
Or yews.
Half of them are gone.
You could use yews as well, and those are shade tolerant, and they would grow tall, and you can get them for 100 of them.
This is for the planting, the mulch, the soil, it's the whole package too. And if you don't plant the bush right, especially in an area, excuse me, where it's not going to be maintained, then it won't survive. And the reason why we hire out to have these things planted is because they're not watered and maintained after the initial plantings, they have to be done correctly.
I'd like to add to that, on Manning Avenue, shade tree replaced the tree in front of my house, and then across the way, the tree, then we were responsible for watering, and the tree across the way did not get as regular watering as I did. It was a hot summer. My tree's still there, that tree died. And I have also planted on my property, and I know that if you don't plant healthy trees, if you don't create a large enough space, if you don't, prepare the bowl properly, it's not going to last. And we've certainly seen in this town trees die because, that we couldn't afford the maintenance. And so I do understand that. I understand Councilman Barlone's position too, that perhaps this might be a high number, but if we don't do it right, why spend the money at all? Because then the tree dies.
And also, these are 10 to 12-foot bushes that we would be getting for the holly. That's a heavy root ball, that's a lot of labor, and I would love to do projects like this, but I put in 20 hours a week just doing shade tree, and I don't have time for it, and if we don't do it like this with an outside contractor, it will not get done, and we won't have any time. And I hate to say that, but it takes a lot of effort to get volunteers together to do something like this. And we don't really have the equipment to be having trees like that delivered to us or picking them up. It would be one tree in a car. You can't even fit it in a car. You need to be taking DPW's truck there. And there's a lot of things involved. It's not just picking up something at Home Depot and planting it. It's a little bit different.
No, I understand, but, I mean, I'm just suggesting as opposed to trees, you could do shrubs, and,
These are shrubs. This is a mixture of shrubs and roses.
I know what they are. I have them in my yard, and I planted them. But what I'm saying is, instead of trees at $350 a pop, shrubs grow a lot quicker than trees. I mean, they just do.
Which request are you talking about?
What?
I think it's on
Your 8 trees at $350 a tree. I'm just saying, I think shrubs may be the way to go as opposed to trees. They're cheaper, they grow quicker. In 5 years, you can have a very large shrub as opposed to, trees just take time.
The trees here are the holly that we're talking about, and that would provide more of an instant buffer for the residents. You put a bush in. No, it's a holly.
It's a holly. It's not like a street tree that you see planted. We also have to be very cognizant of the residents.
I know what they are.
And you're bringing up the concerns of the residents, so we are wanting to put in something that is bigger, that is going to provide some, barrier for them.
There's a beautiful holly there now.
Yes, there is. Who said that?
I said it. I was there today.
You might get up and say there's holly there, that's why there's planting.
I think it's a nice mix of trees and shrubs. I think
we could tweak the design to make sure that there's more shrubs than trees. But it sounds like Rec is on board, Recreation is on board, and Councilman Bartolone's in favor of it.
Mayor, I still think we also have a responsibility to notify the homeowners, even though it is borough property, we can do what we want. They should have an understanding that we're doing this, so one day they don't see all these trees coming out and not having any idea what's going on. It's just being good neighbors.
The conversation we had with Rec that they were going to reach out to the residents prior to any project that we do in the parks, we notify the residents that live around the area. They will get notified when we get to that, when we're going to do it.
Very good.
You just can't say anything.
Okay.
But yes.
All right, thank you.
I just had one other thing. I just forwarded you this. It's from the New Jersey Tree Foundation.org.
Oh,
I already did.
I just forwarded it to you, too.
I already applied, I ordered 400 trees.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
did it already. They're gonna get here April 26th. I don't know where I'm gonna put them.
They'll be out by the tennis court in the middle of the night, putting them in.
You're gonna have to fill in your pool.
Yeah. Cherry Blossom Park.
Thank you.
Beautification.
As the chairperson of beautification, I would just like to request $2,000 in open space. We have used this in the past to buy tools, flowers, manure, topsoil. It truly helps us with all the decorations throughout the town. It would just help us that much more. We don't take capital. We haven't taken capital from the town in probably 5 years. So that's our only source of income from the town, basically. We do fundraising twice, 3 times a year. That's where we get the majority of our money. And this year we have taken on the front of Borough Hall. Cherry Blossom Park, we're hoping to get up and running this year as well. With those 2 projects alone, $2,000 will go in and that's all I request.
All right, well, what are we going to do now that, we're on open space and we're talking about Cherry Blossom Park? How do we, I would put in a request for some type of, we need irrigation at Cherry Blossom Park to the back end of it.
What kind of irrigation, Mayor?
Just, we need a couple of sprinkler heads back there. If we're going to have a tree farm, we have to be able to water them.
I can get an estimate, have John get an estimate.
I have a question, Mayor, because we hear a lot of talk about beautification wants to get into Cherry Blossom Park and do work. My understanding of our ordinance is that Recreation Commission controls our parkland. And it's their prerogative as to what should be done there and not the beautification committee. So I just want to, understand exactly who has the jurisdiction here to do things. Because we're talking about one committee versus our commission. So I just want to make sure that, the proper authority is handling
Michelle.
this.
Back when Cherry Blossom Park first began, many years ago, we had all these different committees. We had green tea, we had shade tree, we had recreation. Everyone was involved. Everyone in this room can tell you that they had ideas. We all came together with our ideas. We had an idea put on paper. Everyone knows what happened 2 years ago with beautification and our mayor. We've just stepped up. We invite any other committee to come and help us. It's not that we are saying no one else can come and help us. Please do. We could use all the help we can get. As everyone knows, volunteers are not coming out of the woodwork.
Right. In order to complete Cherry Blossom Park, it has to be a combined effort of the DPW, Beautification Commission, and Recreation, and probably the Board of Education because it borders their property.
And shade tree.
Of course.
That's where our jurisdiction comes from.
Tree.
More planting.
Right. So it has to be a coordinated effort. If we're going to have the back part of the property as a tree farm, we need access from either the Board of Ed or from that side street. What's the
Cherry Muse?
Cherry Muse. So we have to figure that out. We have to get irrigation back there, which is going to require work with either the DPW or an outside contractor. We're going to have to get curbing up, and the DPW is getting us quotes for curbing. The DPW said that they would help us remove the blacktop. The DPW said that they would assist us in clearing out the trees in the bottom half that are in bad shape. So it's going to be, we need a combined effort. We need to get everybody on the same page. Of course, Recreation has a seat at the table, as does Shade Tree and Beautification and the Board of Ed. So
I would just argue that Recreation doesn't have just a seat at the table, they have the chair, because we have ordinances, and the ordinance gives control of our parkland to the Recreation Commission. No one else but the Recreation Commission. So I think, it starts with them, and that's where that power lies, not with any other committee, but rather the commission. And there is a difference between the two.
Is there some internal battle that I'm unaware of, Councilman?
Internal battle? No, I simply want to see that things are done properly, and we have ordinances that control who does what. Now, if you want to disregard them, that's fine. But there are ordinances, and the ordinance gives control of the parkland to Recreation.
Rec, is there an issue with beautification?
The last, you can correct me if I'm wrong, when the whole purchase of this park came about through the council, and then, I don't know really what happened, and it wasn't designated at that time. I think, Alan, they were working on doing the funding with Green Acres or whatever.
Right.
It was Wendy Walker that had the project, and it wasn't at that time Recreation. And then we were never told, here, Rec, it's now your park. Last we were discussed was there were still funding issues with paying the bonds or whatever it was. We were not in any of the purchase or anything. This was Wendy at the time.
There was a meeting, and Michelle's absolutely right. The Recreation Commission invited Beautification, Shade Tree, Green Team, all the committees to come that one day and look at the property and come up with ideas. And ideas were given, and a plan was made. And it was Shade Tree and Beautification and Recreation. They do have those plans. That was several years ago, right after the final purchase. So Michelle's absolutely right. There was a meeting, and it was under the jurisdiction of Recreation. We invited these committees to come in and say, look, hey, what are your plans? What are your ideas? And it was a combined effort, and then everything stopped. We didn't have the funding.
Okay. Kathleen?
Can we amend the ordinance?
No, the ordinance is fine. It's just the way I think it should be executed is, once the park is completed, then it would be turned over to the jurisdiction of the Recreation Commission. But right now, the park is under construction, right? Park is under
We don't
construction.
know, because we're not in charge of it. I don't know who's doing the construction.
We're trying to get the rest of the money from the, right now, the only department doing work there is the DPW. That's it.
But there's no commission or committee that is overseeing that construction.
There was the committee that you're talking about, and then it got dissolved or whatever. Now we're this close to finally getting the Green Acres funding, and once we get the Green Acres funding, then we'll be ready to take the plan that Bobby has, and I don't know if Bobby has the latest plan, because there were a couple that I've seen that are a couple versions of it, but we'd like to hold a meeting and see what plan you have, see what plan Beautification has. Alan?
Yeah, I just have to make it clear. Once we receive the funding from Green Acres, that will merely substitute for our obligation to raise that cash, that money ourselves.
Right.
So that is not going to be additional money that can be put towards the development of the park.
Mm-hmm.
That really goes to the acquisition cost. And receiving that money will just relieve us, the borough, of the obligation of raising that money or borrowing that money ourselves. So I just want to make sure that's on the record and that's clear.
Okay. All right, so, I mean, the the parking's a work in progress. Ed?
Has Green Acres given us a breakdown as to what will be reimbursable and what won't be reimbursable?
The initial, if I may, Mayor, the initial application is a guideline as to how much is acquisition. Some of it went towards the demolition costs, some of it was for environmental, and they have their own formulas to determine how much of that's going to be allowable. So no, we don't have any sort of an estimate at this point.
All right. Anything else? Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. All right, anybody have any other comments regarding the Open Space Trust Fund?
Mayor, just for the council, we will be listing this for our upcoming work sessions so they can deliberate over the allocation of these monies. And as soon as that's done, we will pass resolutions formalizing the decision of the mayor and council in these areas.
Okay, good. I'd like a motion to close the public portion of this hearing.
Mr. Stitz has a comment.
Mr. Stitz.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to open it outside the committee. Just have a couple questions. Hold on, bud. Number one, don't be offended, I really don't know anyone in this building, but you sounded like the House of Representatives. Okay? You sounded like the House. When you question, how come they can't get along down there? Wow. Okay. Anyway. Questions. The lighting alert. I was here back, I guess, in September.
What lighting?
Lightning.
The lightning detection.
Okay, lightning, right.
Bobby, when you do your plan for the lightning alert, okay, are you doing your own self-contained plan? Because back then we were told, and Alan, correct me if I'm wrong, that the plan that Oradell has covers a radius of 10 miles.
I thought it was 5.
Okay, still, it's close enough for River Edge.
Right.
Can we just tap in and get the alert from them? We don't need to reinvent our own wheel, just to say, it's River Edges. I like to reuse assets that are there already.
The same company did survey our town.
Right.
And basically, the closest siren would be at the high school. It cannot be heard three blocks in.
Yeah, but we can put the wiring, because there are no fields south of KBG. So if we just hook up the wiring, because if we can reach Mars, or Oradell can reach River Edge, why can't we just have the wiring on a siren center mass of River Edge to alert us? We don't, we don't need to hear Oradell's siren, but if we can get the signal to turn on our siren, that would resolve it, wouldn't it?
No. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but we saw a detailed proposal. And the detailed proposal is, and, I'm not technically savvy about all of this, but I know that there's a base unit that Oradell has that costs X amount of dollars, and then every field has about a $4,000 antenna and siren that picks up the signal from the base unit. So all of our fields would, at a minimum, require this $4,000 antenna and siren. All right?
And lighting, there's a lighting.
And there's a light. So what we would, if we piggybacked off of Oradell's system, we would save money because we wouldn't need a base unit.
Right.
I don't know what that cost was, 11,000 or something like that, savings. But we would still need individual sirens, antennas, and a strobe for each of the fields.
Right, but so since we don't have money in the checking account anyway, just 11,000 is a lot of money. So if we can use theirs, or does New Milford have a system?
New Milford doesn't have a system.
Okay.
There is a requirement that I was reading about in the paper that every town that has a system has to have their own system. There is no piggybacking.
Oh, well.
I don't know.
Isn't Vito looking into this? Didn't we ask Vito to look into this?
We did ask Vito to look into this.
Vito looked into this a few months ago, before he even was official. The Borough of Oradell spent $40,000 for a lighting detection system. The system sends out signals to all of their fields, all of them. The fields have a receiver, and about 20 minutes of lead time before something that's predicted arrives. So they have 20 minutes to clear the fields, which is done immediately. The Borough of Oradell, of course, allowed the high school to have a receiver there also. And that covers the multitudes of fields that we have at the high school. The Borough of Oradell is considering allowing the middle school to install a receiver, since the middle school and the high school together form the Riverdale School District. And that's what it hangs. Once the Borough of Oradell Mayor and Council allow the Riverdale School Board, give them permission to use their system at the middle school, then Riverdale will invest about $4,000 to purchase the receiver to be installed at the middle school. And that receiver will take care of the fields, the middle school. It is true that one of these systems has a radius of about 5 to 7 miles, depending on the terrain and the topography of the sites. But I don't know to what extent the Borough of River Edge would be able to even approach Oradell and request an interlocal agreement or something of that sort, where their system could be further expanded to cover the borough, versus the borough investing its own money for a setup and then place receivers at KVG and all these other localized field areas. So that's where this research ends.
All right, okay, good. So the answer to your question is, we have to approach the mayor and council of Oradell and ask them if we can piggyback off their system to save us some money.
Right.
So we have a shared services committee that will look into that.
Okay. I have a question for the Shade Tree Committee.
Commissioner.
Sorry.
Yeah, you should address these comments to the,
Yeah,
excuse me, Mr.
yeah.
Pitts, you should address
Okay,
your
I
comments
will.
here.
Okay.
And the mayor will bring in
Understood.
the
Stump removal.
Right.
Is that the responsibility of the Shade Tree Commission, or is that the responsibility of the DPW?
Good question.
Because down in Soho, south of Howland, there's a lot of trees that were taken down, and they've been taken down for like 5 years, and the trunk and the stumps are still there. So I don't know how the rest of the town is, but I know where I walk every morning, and Vito sees me every morning. Yeah. The stumps are there, and how do we get rid of them? Because they are borough trees.
I saw photos where the stumps are actually becoming numbered now. Maybe Liz Stewart can give us some more information on that.
Well, Mayor, if I may, the removal of the stumps for recent years has been in the Shade Tree Commission budget. Those budgets have been severely curtailed over the last several years due to our financial situation. So we do have a backlog of stumps that are out there. We do have money each year in the budget for some stump removal, and the Shade Tree Commission does prioritize those stumps and has a removal program, but it's not something that we can address town-wide without the financial resources to do it, and we haven't been able to get to that point, to get back to that point.
No, I understand that, and don't take offense, but a lot of times it feels like things start at the northern end of River Edge, and they just never happen to get to Soho. You know, like paving starts in the northern end, just doesn't have to get to Soho. You know, sidewalk or curb replacement happens in other areas, but not in Soho. And I see a lot of stumps, and if the Shade Tree Commission wants, as I'm walking, I can put the addresses down and see if it's in their inventory. Because I don't even know if they're in the inventory, because some of these trees, there were stumps when I came back in 2008 from overseas. That's 5 years. And it has to be a pretty big inventory town-wide then, of stumps they haven't gotten to.
Yeah.
So, and out of sight, out of mind, I understand planting trees are much more exciting than removing stumps. But they were the town trees, they're the town stumps. So, just a thought.
What's next on your list?
Well, I have committee questions, but if you want, I had them.
Well, you have the floor.
Might as well.
Okay, they're real fast.
Get 'em out.
Okay. When I spoke about the right-of-way sign down at the service road,
Right.
no one really took ownership of that. Who's going to track that for me?
That's it's either a county road or a state highway, part of the state highway.
Okay.
We have to ask our borough engineer, Rob Cox.
Okay. On your traffic study, where you want to identify, over in Fairlawn, I don't know if you've seen them, they have the stoplights, the critical stoplights, and they're run with solar panels, and they blink. So if we have areas that are heavy congested and, a dangerous intersection, in your study and your plan for funding, you might want to look into that, where it's a, hey, I'm talking to you, stoplight, stop sign.
Yes, Councilman Mignon mentioned them when we were doing Howland Avenue.
Yeah, because sometimes you really have to
And they have,
pay attention.
I think he called them countdown lights. It actually tells you how many seconds you have.
No, these are constantly flashing. It's a stop sign with all little red lights.
They have LED lights.
And it really, gets your attention. Speed limits. I'd like to see you limit the speed limit on Kinnickinnick, but if you can limit the speed limit on Valley Road, going from Howland over to Lakeview, people may think it's 45 miles an hour, but it's really 25. But they go buzzing through there because it's their shortcut to Route 4. And, I don't know, I know other towns have put speed bumps or whatever, what they call them, another name for a bump, but they're there. Richfield has them going up Ray Boulevard and everything, just to slow people down, because it's really dangerous. I mean, it's designated as a bike path.
Do you have an email?
Sure.
You do?
Yep.
Well, go on the borough website and send us an email so that
Okay.
we can put that particular road on the Traffic and Safety Committee agenda in the next meeting.
Okay, promise, one last question. In Soho, a lot of our curbs are sinking back into the swamp from which they came. Do we have any plan of doing some curb remediation? Because you look especially on where Reservoir turns into Van Saun, the curbs are just sinking because it was a swamp that we filled in, especially on the south side of that street. The curbs are just disappearing. And I don't mean crumbling, I mean submerging. So
Curbs are,
it's expensive.
it's as our borough administrator would say, it's a cost-benefit analysis. Paving is so much per foot, and curbing is so much per foot. Curbing, I think we got a price of, it's $95 or something to replace 1 foot of curbing. If we used our road resurfacing money that we spend every year, a few $100,000, it doesn't go far.
Right.
If we spent that on curbing, we wouldn't have any money to do 2 blocks. So we what's the term?
Push off doing the curbs.
We push off doing the curbs so that we can pave more footage of, repave more footage of street.
But paving has a lifetime of 6 years, life of 6 years maybe, especially in Soho with the water coming up through the ground.
Well,
And a sidewalk,
10
a
years.
curb lasts about 50 years.
I know, it's something we
that
would
or
like to
sewer
do.
lines, doesn't
It's
matter.
something that we would like to do. When you do curbing and paving at the same time, the street looks beautiful, and it lasts longer, and we wish we had the money.
Okay, I think I'm done for the night.
Thank you.
If you can figure out a way to use the stumps, to fix the bumps and the curbs,
There you go.
we've got a plan.
Thank you.
Okay. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So, oh wait, there's another person.
Sorry, Michelle.
Just to set the record straight, Sheraton Park, Recreation was in charge of it. Dan Bruin was put ahead of it, okay? Where is Dan Bruin now? He was removed by the past member, as was I, and as was my chairman, Stacy Stein. Okay, I just want the record to say that. So Recreation still would have their hands on this, but they have not come forward. We're very interested in it, because no money to the town, all volunteers. Thank you.
All right, now, can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have, is ordinance 1777 on for first reading?
Yes, it is, Mayor.
All right, we have an ordinance on for first reading. Mayor, Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance?
Ordinance 1777, ordinance authorizing the emergency appropriation NJSA 40:4-53.
All right, can I have a motion on this ordinance for first reading?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Can I have a roll call?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Michael
Yes.
Councilman Papola?
Yes.
Councilman Bidnon?
Yes.
Councilman Barbaloni?
Yes.
And Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
All right, we have ordinance number 1778 on for, is this a first or a second?
First reading.
What?
First reading.
First reading.
Ordinance 1778, amendment to ordinance 1741, chapter 400, vehicles and traffic, article 4, schedules 400-31, schedule 5, bus stops of the revised general ordinances of the borough of River Edge.
All right, this is, as I recall, this is a language change in the ordinance so that we could get county approval for the bus shelters, correct?
Well, it was pointed out to us that this ordinance has an error in it, a language error, and I guess that's the reason he was holding up our bus shelter.
But he wouldn't tell us. He wouldn't tell us for 6 months. All right, can I have a motion to move this ordinance on first reading?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have an ordinance on second reading for public hearing. Madam Clerk, can you read the ordinance?
Ordinance 1774, an ordinance to fix the salary, wage, and compensation of officers and employees of the borough of River Edge and the county of Buckingham and the state of New Jersey for the year 2013. This one is for the DPW, Mayor.
These are DPW salary scale wages for 2013. Can I have a motion to open the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there any member of the public who would like to speak on ordinance number 1774 regarding the 2013 DPW salary and wages? Can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion for the final adoption of ordinance number 1774?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Papola?
Yes.
Councilman Papola?
Yes.
Councilman Bidnon?
Yes.
Councilman Barbaloni?
Yes.
And Councilman Papaleo?
Yes.
All right, we have another ordinance on for a final reading, ordinance 1775. Madam Clerk, can you read the title?
An ordinance to fix the salary, wage, and compensation of the officers and employees of the borough of River Edge in the county of Bergen and state of New Jersey for the year 2013. This is for the police department, Mayor.
All right, this ordinance sets the salary scale for 2013 for members of the police department. Can I have a motion to open the hearing to the public on
So
ordinance
moved.
number 1775? There's a motion by Councilwoman Murphy.
Second.
A second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, the hearing is open to the public for any member of the public to speak on or address ordinance number 1775. Do I have any member of the public who wishes to be heard? Can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, can I have a motion for the final adoption of ordinance number 1775?
So moved.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, Denise?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Equifreda?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
And Councilman Capolet?
Yes.
Okay, the next ordinance for final adoption is ordinance 1776. Madam Clerk, can you read the title of the ordinance?
Ordinance 1776, an ordinance to fix the salary, wage, and compensation of officers and employees of the Borough of River Edge in the county of Bergen, state of New Jersey, for the year 2013, married to non-contractual employees.
Okay, this ordinance is to set the salary scale for non-contractual employees that are not part of any collective bargaining agreement. Can I have a motion to open the hearing on this ordinance to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. All right, this hearing is open to the public for anyone to speak on this ordinance regarding the salary and wages for non-contractual employees. Would any member of the public like to be heard? Can I have a motion to close the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion for the final adoption of ordinance number 1776?
So moved.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Equifreda?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
Yes.
And Councilman Capolet?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next, we have resolutions by consent. They are resolutions on the agenda that are listed as 13-61 up to and including 13-79, which was newly listed regarding the sidewalks. Would any member of the council like to pull out for separate discussion or consideration any individual resolution?
1366.
Yep.
Table.
All right, 1366 is tabled.
Do you have a motion and a second, please?
Second.
Motion to close.
So moved.
All right, can I have a roll call on that, please?
Councilwoman Murphy?
Yes.
Councilman Equifreda?
Yes.
Councilman Capola?
Yes.
Councilman Mignon?
Yes.
Councilman Bartoloni?
No.
And Councilman Capolet?
Yes.
All right, can I have a resolution by consent on all of the remaining resolutions? 1361 up to and including 1379, not including the motion that we just tabled, the resolution that we just tabled.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstained? Okay, could our finance chair read 1377, the payment of the bills?
Whereas vouchers for the payment of goods and services rendered to the Borough of River Edge have been received, and whereas each bill has been checked by the receiving department, approved by the Chief Financial Officer and Borough Clerk, and reviewed by the 3 members of the Finance Committee. Now therefore be it resolved that bills as listed now be confirmed for payment from the appropriate funds as follows. Current account, $184,307.10. Capital account, $117,786.20. Recreation account, $238.50. Trust other developers account, $1,045. Trust other account, $1,400. Open space account, $396.42. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. Okay, now we can have our final public hearing. Can I have a motion to open the hearing to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Would any member like to speak to the mayor and council, make a statement, ask a question on any issue affecting their interest? Not just anything that we've discussed tonight, but any issue at all. Mr. Carroll.
Neil Carroll, 321 Wales Avenue. The problem down on Eastbrook Drive, you call the Mosquito Commission, trust me, they're the same people that offered to do our boat ramp next to the swim club, and it never happened. But they offered to come in and not only clean the silt out so that we could get our boats in the water, but they would come back every 6 months and clean the silt. They've done similar projects in Wyckoff, Waldwick, etc., all over the county. I know they were recently up in Mawa doing some work. They do excellent work, but the Mosquito Commission has the heavy-duty equipment. As a matter of fact, I think they're even over doing the doggy park in Vance Open Park right now. They have their equipment over there, their bulldozers doing the equipment. Second thing...
Can I just stop you right there, because while I have it on my mind, I'm going to ask Alan, when we draft the letter to the Mosquito Commission for the brook, and we also include the boat ramp, so we get them both in the same letter. All right, thank you.
That's New Milford, Oradell, River Edge, Hackensack, and the county police and doggers have the same boat ramp.
Okay.
We couldn't get to the woman that drowned up there. We had to actually lift a boat off the bridge into the river to get that woman that committed suicide. The other one is this turf war that's an ongoing thing between the Recreation Commission and John Lynch and the members of the DPW staff for doing the fields. I know it's come up with John here, and I can tell you only because I've heard it from John sitting in that chair, that when some of these special requests come from Recreation, John has a budget. And if it's not in John's budget, or he doesn't have the manpower, it just can't be done. But the other side of the coin, and Alan will tell you, if we get John Lynch to do it, we take the funding and give it to the DPW. But if John can't do it, and they just go out and hire somebody, are we going through the bidding process to vendors with a set of specifications of exactly what John was going to do and find out how much each vendor? I never hear, maybe because it's a commission, they don't have to go out and get the 3 bids. I don't know, but it's a question that I have that's been bugging me for years, because all of a sudden the blame goes down there, and I'm the representative defending them tonight because nobody else steps up to the plate.
Mayor, if it's over $5,400 and under $36,000, our departments are required, even if it's the commission, they're required to get 3 quotations. Now, whether you award on that basis or not, that's another question, but if they're required to get 3 quotes between $5,400...
Sorry, through the chair.
No, what Alan said was that even if it's a commission and it's below the bid threshold, they're required to get 3 quotes, and then it's up to us to reject all those quotes and get quotes of our own, or to award to the lowest responsible quote.
I'm just checking on that process.
Right.
But Mr. Mayor, based on that, when they had to go out to get their own contractor, right, when DPW, do you remember them coming to you?
Not fair.
I mean, you hear the rules. If it's over, you gotta come to us, but does anyone remember them coming to you?
Well,
if it's over $36,000, it's a formal bid that does come to the mayor and council. If it's under $36,000 but over $5,400, it'll be done with a purchase order by the department. It doesn't have to come to the mayor and council. It can be awarded on a quote basis.
Okay. But Mr. Mayor, is the Recreation Commission or Committee?
Commission.
Is that a department, or is that a...
No, it's an independent commission.
Okay, so therefore, do they live by your department regulations, or should you have a separate commission regulation that says... Because you have to be careful with commissions to make sure that they're being a true steward of our money. That just, sometimes people think they can do more, where you have more control that are applied against you for finances than a commission may have.
I understand, but our CFO looks at everything. Everything that comes in, Alan looks at. Alan,
Mayor, the simple answer here is that all of these dollars, whether they're commission dollars that go into a trust fund or to the municipal budget, they're all subject to what's called the local public contracts law. So they all have to abide by a state law that sets forth all of these purchasing requirements, whether they're a commission, a committee, a board, mayor and council, Board of Education comes under the local public contracts law. All these public entities, authorities, utilities come under the local public contracts law. So it's all the same, no matter what their form of organization is.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Terry Burmeyer, 749 Center Avenue. I was wondering if we can do anything about the garbage can and the recycle bins that they throw out in the street instead of putting on the you go down any of these blocks on Monday and you gotta go around all the garbage cans to get up the street.
Monday was windy, and I saw them, and they blew over.
Yeah, but they weren't put on the curb in the beginning. They just throw them. And the same with the recycle.
All right, we can write a letter to
I don't know
Waste
if there's
Management.
anything you can do about it, but to me it's dangerous.
Okay.
Because people have to go around them. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Any closing comments, anybody?
I just have a few things. I put this in front of everybody's chair. This is the new senior residence that's opening at St. Peter's. I went and paid a visit over there. They have open houses Sundays 9 to 12. It's a really nice place. The owners are two young guys. It's a nonprofit organization. I have other information up here if anybody's interested. They offer 24-hour on-site service, so I would recommend going over and having a look. I also spoke to Father Sheehan. They have a food pantry over at St. Peter's, and they are accepting donations in the lobby of the church, so please feel free to make a donation. Neighbors Helping Neighbors is having a second anniversary, January 25th. So they're looking, if they anticipate 500 people to attend. The dog park should be open 4 to 8 weeks, and hopefully we can give an email blast about that. Historic Newbridge Landing, this Sunday, January 27th, is having what's called Bridget's Day in Candlemas. They will have Irish ballads and a harpist, $7 adult, $5 child. The Mayor's Wellness Program, we're kicking it off within 2 weeks. If there's anybody that's looking to slim down, you'll be getting information. We're going to have it posted all over the place. We are going to have a weight loss contest and other things. And a new pizzeria is opening up on top of trying to lose weight. River Edge Pizza Kitchen shall be open within 2 weeks, where the old Crico de Padre was. That's it.
We have to do the, yeah. All right, anybody else? Vito? Anthony?
No.
Ed, congratulations, Dr. Rodens, on your appointment to the Board of Health. Thank you for volunteering. Al?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just, in talking about the open space in Cherry Blossom Park, or whatever it is called, unofficially or officially, I'm not quite sure. It's no secret that I wasn't in favor of the town acquiring that piece of property. And I think when we get the final numbers, when this project is eventually, we get the Green Acres funding, you're going to see that this project has already cost the taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars. But what I don't see in capital, and I don't see in open space, is any request to actually do something with that project. And I don't want to see, either, however well-intentioned it may be, groups coming in and doing work there without the approval of this council. Because this council and DPW and anyone else, should not be left with a debt or an obligation to maintain something that we did not approve to begin with. And There are processes in place. We have ordinances. We have a recreation commission. They are in charge of our parkland. And in terms of beautification, they're well-intentioned. But let's also look at their ordinance, because sometimes we forget what the ordinance say about certain committees or groups that we start. And if you look at their ordinance, and I'll just read it, and it's section C, the mayor and council shall have sole authority to implement the annual plan of the beautification committee. The committee shall serve as an advisor to the mayor and council with reference to the planned implementation. They are required under their founding ordinance to present a plan to this mayor and council, and have this mayor and council approve said plan and implement said plan. That doesn't happen. I want to make sure that whatever happens at that park goes through this council. That's how it should happen, that's the way it should be, and I want to make sure it does happen. And in the past, I've seen that that simply has not been the way it's been done. So I want to make sure that that does happen.
Councilman Papaleo? No?
Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn, then we're going to go into executive session to speak about our pending litigation.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.